What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It is great to be here. Sorry, we are a little bit late. I do apologize, but we're here nonetheless, and that's what is important. And I have a very special guest along with me for one of our classic call-in shows, and I'm sure we'll discuss other things as well. Dr. Gary Brucato, forensic psychologist and author of The New Evil. He is I guess it's not visiting, or it's not a visiting scholar anymore. Got to write this down.
It's called something like visiting researcher, or so I have to look it up. I think it's that term. They just changed the name and the requirements, and I think it's visiting researcher. Yeah. So that's a great title. What's the matter?
What is going on? No, it's not even that. I hit live. Hold on.
They're live. Can people send us in the tell us in the audience if they hear us?
Hold on.
I think they don't.
Oh, wait.
We're live.
It says we're live. Hello?
Good. See, it says that they're waiting. They don't know we're here.
Why is it so delayed?
Oh, now they say they hear us. They hear us.
Can you see us? Did you hear the intro?
This is like a seance. All right. Can you hear us, spirits? Yeah, they hear us. So what's going on?
Wow. Did you see any of the intro? That was absolutely wild.
I don't know, but we're here now. They say they've been waiting for 20 minutes. We've had a lot of technical issues. We're very sorry. First, the link wasn't appearing in my inbox to get on, and then we got on, and now we're having this problem. And so I hope people understand that we have a technical issue. That was not for lack of trying.
No.
See, they say, are you guys playing with us?
No, I promise you we're not. I have no clue why.
I still think that it says no intro, but they see us. So who cares? Who cares? They know your intro by heart.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
your
like
face, the red screen, dude.
But it's
they know it. All right.
I know, but it's like muscle memory for me. You know what I mean? Like I feel if I don't get a proper intro, I feel weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here, right, and I think they can hear us and see us.
They see us. They're fine.
All right, hold on.
They're all here, so let's go.
Okay.
I'll hit the fast forward button. Hi, I'm Dr. Brucato. My name. Okay, now here we are. Let's go. They know the intro.
All right, hit the one. Hit a 1 if we're up to date. Let's see how fast this happens.
They said that they're aware of there being StreamYard issues for the past few days.
Let's see. Where's the let's see how long it takes for a 1 to, okay, there, never mind. Okay, I guess we're up to date. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. That's never happened before.
Nuts.
Yeah. All right. So.
All right, there you go. Look at all those ones.
Dr. Gary Brucato, forensic psychologist, author of The New Evil. And what is it now? Tell me again, visiting what?
I'm a visiting researcher, I think is the title. I was a visiting scholar for years.
Like a dark traveler.
Yeah, I got the title just changed to me to make it. I don't know what the reason is. The title changed at Boston College, and that's what I am now. And I still do research with Dr. Ann Burgess and Dr. Victor Petrecca on a variety of forensic topics. I just went and filmed for two things. I filmed for a show that's going to be on a major network, but I can't tell you what it is yet. And I filmed for a podcast series for another major group that everyone will know, but I have not announced that. They have not announced it yet, so I can't. But people will really love those. That they're like cases that people are just gonna really want to hear about. I did some interviews also for some media that will be coming out. Problem is, I can't pre-announce these things. So, now I will let people know, because they've been asking me, that now that I am in the process of applying to YouTube to have my own monetized station, I sort of made the piano videos on my page temporarily private while I update the language on them and links and things, and then they'll start to come back. I am letting people know that now that the raffles have ended, that I have like 40 some odd of the raffle books, the true crime books that Michael Stone and I used for researching for the New Evil. They're still here. I'm just selling them outright. And I've also been selling signed copies of the New Evil, because I have a big order of the book coming, so that, I'll sign it and draw a little original picture in it and send it. So if anybody is interested in either buying one of the books outright, or more than one, or the signed copy of the New Evil, just email me. And my email address is very easy. It's just Dr. Gary Brucato, DrGaryBrucato, all lowercase, at gmail.com. And a lot of people here in the audience whose names I recognize already have done that. But they'll be gone soon, because I had, just yesterday, I had almost 100 books still left.
Interesting.
I've got 40 something. So is that okay? And there's no list of books. You get surprised based on my sense of what you might like. I choose one at random, so that's the fun. I put little notes in there for you and everything. So anyway, sound like fun? Good.
Well, I mean, I've already read your book.
Yeah, but
I do need a signed copy of it. I am a little so I need to do.
And the books, just so people are asking, the books are, as I said, they're true crime books, secondhand, that are in the massive piles that Michael Stone and I used when we did the New Evil. We read mountains of monograph books, meaning like these little bios on criminals, or books about mass murder or serial killing or sex crimes, or particular assault cases or whatever. And then we were done with them. They just stacked up, and he gave me his whole library when he passed away. And there were a lot of doubles, because we were like hatched out of the same egg. So of course I had 60% books matching with him. So people will contact me. We'll do that. And but this has been a pretty good time in life for me, Josh. I've got good things going on.
Yeah, it's great, man.
After a spate of not so great things, it's been a good time. A great, and very unexpected joy has come into my life, and I wake up every day and I wait to, I don't know, realize that it's like a dream or something. But it's been a good time.
Wonder what that feels like.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It kind of makes you believe that something up there is benevolent, and eventually kind of gives you something back. And yeah, and how about you? How's life?
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's monotonous and kind of a rat race, and but it's fine. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's annoying sometimes. I tell you that. I did hear today. I won't say when, but I did hear that we got a date, the parole date. I'm not going to say when, but my father definitely has a release date So, I mean, that's still going forward. I just found that out um probably about 4 or 5 hours ago. So I'm a little, I don't know. I wouldn't say shell shocked. I'm just processing still.
Mhm.
Not that I didn't know that it was coming. So I'm ready to put it behind me. I'm ready to uh, move on with my life. And so I can't wait for that to be over, to be honest with you. And
I
uh,
I think it's had a big effect, and we could talk about that offline, but I it's been a rough time, and
I
I
think
think
so.
it needs to be over.
It needs it's been a long, drawn out process, with appeals and fighting, and I frankly I lost, and um, I'm not happy about that. I'm actually very I don't like losing those sorts of things because usually when I fight pretty hard, and I don't give up easily, and I didn't,
Uh,
but I feel like I have. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think, how do I say this? I I think that it's been a lot of years and, like, probably something that you feared for a long time, and then to have it kind of happen is pretty horrifying. But, and I think there's also that feeling of kind of being protective of your family and your mom and your whole, you know what
well,
I mean?
yeah. So that's the thing, and I have to uh, over the week, like over this weekend, I have to break the news to everybody. So
Didn't you
uh,
just do it live on what's being viewed by like a lot of people?
now a lot of my family's out of town this weekend, and I'm not wanting to bother them.
Oh,
Uh, but everybody knows that he's getting out. They just didn't have a date, and so
oh, I
yeah.
understand. Well, look, I don't know what to tell you. Um,
There's really nothing to say. I mean, to be honest with you, Dr. Gary, there's nothing more that I could do. And I got to tell you though, there there's a part of me that is just ready to wash my hands of the situation, and I think that will probably be before the best. And there's a no contact order, all those things. He's not allowed around us, and things like that. So I mean,
but
I don't think it'll be that it won't be that much different other than the psychological aspect of it for some.
I think so. But basically, you're okay.
I am okay. Yes. I did everything normal today. It was just that I just spoke with the prison commissioner, and we had a long conversation. And uh, but life happens, man. It's just there's nothing. But by the way, and I got to tell you this, I'm 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 not the only one going through this. This is like a mass exodus of people they're letting out.
Of
It's
course,
happening
it's happening in New York too. Yeah,
it's
I mean,
happening all over.
it's the
So
philosophy of the time. That's right. You're
yeah,
exactly right. Because it's this attitude of like, instead of treating a criminal like they need punishment for a thing they did, you're viewing them as having like a sickness or an issue that they need a chance to overcome. So it's more about rehabilitation than it's about making up for the thing you did in the past, right? So you could, so like for example, um, there's this rule that if you've served, a certain number of years of your sentence and you don't currently pose a risk to the public, you could be let out. And they're actually talking about, for example, letting out the son of Sam.
yeah, I
I
know.
mean, the son of Sam.
I know.
If the son of Sam doesn't deserve to be in prison for the rest of his life, who deserves to be in prison the rest of their life? He was a serial killer who, in a cold blooded way, started fires to masturbate and walked up to people in cars and shot them.
Yeah, I know. I know. I've they
They
he
and they
probably.
may be letting him out. Did you not read about this new thing that's coming
Oh
in New York?
no. No, I did.
I mean, there are other that there's a mass murderer they want to let out. They're talking about letting out Mark David Chapman, I think, right? Am I wrong? The one that killed John Lennon?
I
Am I
think
right?
so. I think so. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, what?
It's that's what
I
I'm
gotta
saying.
look
Like
if
so,
that's accurate, so don't quote
so
me on that. Yeah.
so from a like I've spoken with a lot of people that are sort of in the same situation that I'm in, and it's it sucks, but it's just how it's been. And I am happy that I have been able to reach out to the people that are part of victim witness and victim rights services, and sort of be a voice for the people
Right.
that are haven't experienced exactly what I have for as long as I have. So in that aspect, I'm grateful, and I'm also grateful because um, I feel like I said, I feel okay. Just worried about
Right.
my family, and if it were
Yeah.
just me, I would just go on about my life. But
And you don't know what he's going to do. I mean, that they parole you, then the truth comes out, later, right? There's this whatever you tell the parole board, and then there's real life. So we don't know what
yeah,
he's going to do. He could just go quietly into the night. Now, let me just because now that I've opened a can of worms with this,
that would be nice.
let me read. Let me read very quickly what this article says. It says. Um, Woke bills could spring New York's worst killers, including Son of Sam and John Lennon assassin. John Lennon assassin. So this is an article in the New York Post, and from May 3rd. It's by Tina Moore and Rich Calder, and it says some of the most infamous killers in history, including John Lennon and assassin Mark David Chapman, and John Lennon assassin Mark David Chapman and Son of Sam serial killer David Berkowitz could soon be freed if Albany passes a pair of woke parole bills, critics warn. The elder parole bill would let violent criminals dodge their minimum sentences regardless of how heinous their crimes and be granted early parole hearings after they've turned 55 and served 15 years of their sentences. A second
Jeez.
lefty measure, the Fair and Timely Parole Bill, would require the state parole board to release convicts regardless of the severity of their crimes unless they are current danger to the public, right? So then they give you examples of some of the people that could be let out, and it's like you can't believe, the so I mean, simple example, David McClary, who's in Attica for killing rookie cop Eddie Byrne, and has been turned down many times. He is somebody that could theoretically be released under these bills that are coming down the pike. There's John Taylor, who is the guy who execution style killed 5 employees in a Wendy's. There's Colin Ferguson, who killed 6 people and injured 19 people in the LIRR in the Long Island Railroad mass shooting, who's 63 years old now. um, Jerome Cancel. I mean, it just goes on and on. And the idea of these people being let out, it's
I
just
know.
what? So, I got to be careful what I say about it. But I mean, it's like this notion of having more sympathy for the killer than the killed is a perversion of the construct of what of what jail is about, what prison is about. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with giving something to make up for what you took. It's more like you're in there like you're in a psychiatric hospital and you need rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like putting somebody in, it's like putting a kid in timeout. Like you just, do your timeout and then you get out, no matter what. Obviously it's different, but on an adult level, no matter what you've done, there's a certain amount of time that you can do. And the rest of the world is kind of sort of adopted that sort of theory as well. I know over in Europe and Australia and places like that, like a life sentence in Australia is like 15 years. They call that a life sentence,
mhm.
which makes, I mean, maybe I'm missing something. I don't quite understand that at all. but there are people that walk around that have killed multiple people, and you know, it doesn't make much sense. I really can understand it. And I understand the whole like 25 to life situation, or 30 to life, or 40 to life, or whatever it may, but um, yeah, life certainly doesn't mean life anymore. It's you got a pretty good chance of getting out these days. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, all right. Now, speaking of um, terrible sentences, there was that delicious phrase in the last show that I look like young Sebastian Cabot. I want you to know that I have not stopped receiving messages about that. And let me give you a summary of them. Some of them are from people who think that I was wounded emotionally, that I was said that I look like Sebastian Cabot and tried to boost me. Okay, there's that type. And there were people who said that it was absurd that I mocked Sebastian Cabot because I'm not all that. So I have no right to mock Sebastian.
I apologize for that message.
Yes, there were those. Yes, right. There were those
Sorry.
types. Some people were very nasty. Then there were people who, oh, you have no idea. They'd be like, "Yo, I looked you up and I saw what you looked like years ago. You have no right to you got old. You have no right to make fun of Sebastian Cabot for getting old." And I was like, "There's
Like
no."
people were emailing you this?
Oh yeah, I want to put them in a book called like letters from special people. And then I got that. There was like people who were like, "Let me just tell you, like you have aged, so you have no right to mock Sebastian Cabot for getting old and heavy." I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And then I want to say
Old
back,
and heavy.
I have no trouble like accepting myself as I am. There are people who think I am the cat's meow. Thank you very much. I got those. Then
The cat's meow.
see, you see the nasty things people say? And then, so I got that. Then I got people that tried to tell me who I actually look like, but it was worse. Worse. Like they thought it was a compliment. Like,
Like,
no,
like
I don't know why
I
you
wouldn't
guys
say it
say
just because
that.
it.
Right. I don't know why somebody would say Sebastian Cabot. Let me tell you who I think you look like. And then like insert name of hideous pituitary problem person with like acromegaly, like problem disfigurement. Like what? Like, Rondo Hatton, like there's that. Okay. And then that's the most ridiculous thing. And then I got people that tried to give me the "you have a great personality" speech.
I love that.
Don't worry about that because you have a fantastic personality. I'm sitting here and I'm like, do you understand that there's nothing wrong? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with me. Like, why am I being subjected to this? And this is all because somebody tried to compliment me by telling me that I look like a rotund, bearded actor who was
I sort of.
famous for playing snotty, large, larger than charge people. Like this is my life.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you do have a good personality.
Yeah, but they meant it like it's like the compensating.
Dude, if I was a chick, I would date you probably.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sebastian Cabot and all.
Mm, I mean, I'd probably make you go on a couple extra dates after that before you kissed me. But other than that,
I gotta go. Anyway,
only like it would, because it would just be like, but I would still go on a date with you for sure. Like to the movies or something, somewhere where there was a lot of.
I have no idea. I'm just telling you that I laughed so hard at those emails. My favorite were the ones that really tried to be sensitive, like as if I cared about this. Dear Dr. Gary, I'm so sorry that somebody said that to you and hurt you. You are a wonderful, I wrote back and I was like, are you kidding me? Like I thought that was funny.
But Sebastian Cap, like I got,
I mean, he wasn't a dog. I mean, he looked like a mastiff, but he
I
wasn't
got, I
right.
got Wolfman Jack.
There's nothing wrong with Wolfman Jack. Women loved Wolfman Jack.
Who cares?
And then he sounded like Michael Bruno who calls. You know that guy who calls the deep voice? He sounds like Wolfman Jack.
And then
I
got Dom DeLuise.
You don't look like Dom DeLuise.
I'm just saying that like that's the level
You don't look
of.
anything like Dom DeLuise. Give me a break.
I don't disagree.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't.
you know what it is? Some people, they look at a face and they see it. They don't see it like an artist, right? They see it like in these very superficial ways, right? So it's like oval, beard, dark hair, and then that's it. Like that's all they see. So they compare you to anybody that's got to be, you know what I mean? So they're looking at you and they're going like, Josh, and then like they'll compare you to like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a bearded guy, like, Paul Bunyan. He looks like Paul Bunyan.
Do I?
He looks like he belongs on the Bounty paper towel.
I can see that.
And
I would.
and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what is the comparison here? A beard? Like
I,
that's why Sebastian Cabot. I mean, the only commonality is that when he was young, he had a beard, he had pushed back hair, right? And that's it. I
like
mean, you
see
could make Mr. Potato Head have a beard and push back hair. Does that mean Mr. Potato Head looks like us?
read the screen.
I can't deal with it. Yeah, no, Josh, you do not look like a younger John Candy. I can't take it anymore. There is something wrong. You know what the fun? And by the way, I watched that back. The funniest part. There's two hilarious parts. One is when, without thinking, I became agitated and said, "I'm not flattered. I'm fat." I have
That
no
was
idea why
that was
so funny.
that
And
was
the
hilarious.
second thing that was hilarious was when I said, "Oh, please God, let this woman have an eye problem," and she said she was getting eye surgery. And she couldn't see. She was a really nice person. But then, just when I thought we had gotten out of it, she goes, "Yeah, except I called my friend up." It's the same thing. And then ended on the floor. So anyway, but the moral of the story is it was meant as a funny. But those emails that I got, I think I should keep them the rest of my life because they're
Definitely.
me rolling. And they were very sweet, but you have to understand, like, I don't care what people think of me. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I get it. It's funny. I think
funny.
it's funny. I don't know
Right.
the John Candy thing. That was a
You
bit
don't
of
look
a.
like John Candy.
I
That's silly. Come on, that's silly.
don't know. Maybe I do.
But I'm telling you, it's because you have a beard.
John Candy didn't even have a beard.
No. I mean the other things people say you look like. Notice I said things. The things people say you look
Things. Yeah. No,
so
I mean I'm fine with it. I just don't think I actually like there are some people like I don't know. I don't know who I look like. I really don't. Nobody like I think you look like Mark Ruffalo. At least a little.
nothing wrong with Mark Ruffalo. I like him.
That's what I'm saying. But other than that, I mean, but it's really not even that much. Let's see what Joey H has to say about this. Joey, what's
Joey
up,
H
man?
on the line? Oh, good.
I'm
Oh, here he
glad you're asking my opinion. Listen, I hate to break it to you guys, but you guys look like everybody they say you guys look like.
Damn.
Cabot, Dom. All right, so you got the window set up right now, and all I keep thinking about is Cannonball Run. You guys should do Cannonball Run Part 3 and just go with it, man. Go with it.
Cannonball Run.
Joey, since we're being so honest, I think you have the perfect voice for a Disney character, and in particular, a rodent. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way.
You could be
but I think
bad. You could be bad.
a fabulous Disney weasel.
I'll be anything, but I'm not a rat.
No, not
I'm
a rat.
not a rat.
Some kind of weasel. It's that your voice has that that hilarious like street kind of thing, and it's like got like a twang to it. It would be the perfect voice for like a weasel in a gangster suit.
Mm.
You understand?
I think my air conditioner feels exactly as you. Have you guys been dealing with it with heat? Well, not you, Josh. I guess you're in California, but like on the East Coast, the heat is like diabolical.
Did you see the air? By the way, I was only kidding about the rodent. Did you see the air? Like literally like
it's like Godzilla. You're looking for Godzilla. I'm waiting for Godzilla to come down the street. Yeah, it's all red. The whole sky's like red.
Somebody in the audience wants to know, Joey, if you're single.
Listen, I'm happily single and I'll drop dead single. I have no time for problems. It's Friday night. I'm on TV with you guys. You can't. Yeah, I'm a very single guy. My yellow glasses or whoever that imposter's glasses are from a $3 shop in Pennsylvania.
What it's that picture, I guess, made somebody.
Yeah. So listen, I want a couple things I want to get off my chest before I answer my question. You know, I like asking a special question. So a
Let's
couple things.
go.
One is I wanted to share with you. Um, I met Stuart Copeland. I love the police. I met Stuart Copeland this week, and I had always felt I was looking forward to it because I'm a musician also, and I'm a drummer also, and I really wanted to meet him, and also because he was a filmmaker. He used to shoot on Super 8 film a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who? I missed it.
Stuart Copeland from the
Oh, yeah,
Police.
yeah, I know.
And no, but the interesting thing is, I was hesitant to meet him. I was not looking forward to it, to be honest with you, just because on all the interviews, so he's like jumping around. He's very hyper, but in real life, it's not. He's not like that. He's a very intellectual, calm, passive guy, and I thought about you because, you know, you've brought up Nancy Grace and stuff, and you know, these people who are able to put on a switch, this persona. And he's one of these people who can put that switch on. Then he gets on the stage and he turns that switch on. It's really fascinating, and it links to true crime and stuff if you think about it. Because Bundy, there's only very rare footage. One was in a court case where you see the monster come out of him when they're taking him out of the courtroom. You see him sort of the mask falls off for a moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to share. I've been dealing with my air conditioner.
Well, guess what, Joe? Yesterday, if you want a little bit of trivia, yesterday was Stuart Copeland's birthday.
It was 74.
Yes, yeah. I saw that. So
it looks good.
Yeah, but is that a coincidence that you're bringing him up and he had his birthday? Because there was a thing about it in the news.
It's a mix of premonitions and fate. You know, that's what I'm all about, right? So listen, I have some recommendations as always. That's going to lead to my question, right? And today we're going to be talking about Satan, all right? Satanic ritualistic stuff. So my book recommendation, this is serious. I'm being serious right now. And Gary, please, I know you got a library blurred out in the background. You like to say that every book I recommend, you have it right next to you.
Oh, not next to me, but I probably have
somewhere in a box. Michael Stone put it in the back closet for you.
Probably.
So let's see if you have this book, all right? Do you have Suffer the Child? If you do, quick trivia, who wrote it?
I have to look.
Thank God you don't have it.
Top of my head,
all right. So to you and to the chat, this is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite books, by the way. It's called Suffer the Child by it is by Judith Spencer, and it's about intergenerational satanic ritualistic abuse.
No, I see it, but I don't have it.
Please get it, Gary. You must read this book.
Interesting. I've never even heard of it.
It's really, really powerful stuff. It's on a whole different level than Sybil and Three Faces of Eve.
The cover is terrifying. It's a kid sitting in a
yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a very good book.
Excellent ratings. Are they all from you?
That's funny. Yeah, right. Hey, you're funny, man.
It has very, very high ratings. Actually, look,
it's because it's a good book. I got good taste.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, like us. So.
Yeah. So so it's a story of a therapist and a patient and whatever. But let me ask you this: since I don't remember with your New Evil book, did you deal with that whole Paul Ingram case, the father who was falsely accused of satanic? Did your book actually did not deal with satanic rituals or anything like that, or
a different construct of evil? It's
interesting.
Not into
the satanic panic. You didn't deal with that.
No,
from the 80s.
It's an interesting subject, but but that's getting into preternatural evil, not evil as we mean it.
Okay.
Of course, there's crossover, but
touching
on the spirit. I mean, the spiritual evil is a subject of enormous interest to me. I have in my library in the back room, which has become overrun with plant life, like something out of Troll. Remember that movie Troll? It looks like it literally, like there should be those little creatures growing back there, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus running around like
it's an animation movie, right?
No, it's Phil Fondacaro. It plays.
That's right.
That comes from medieval times, and it takes over an apartment building. Sonny Bono is turned into a troll.
Wait, that's totally different than what I was thinking about.
What a movie!
Sonny Bono.
Yeah, Sonny Bono. That's
Sonny
right.
Bono.
It looks like a scene from Troll back there. But the thing is, in that back library, it's divided on the left side and the right side with different kinds of books. And what I did, perhaps as an unconscious nod to Matthew 25, I put the books about evil and Satan, darkness, whatever, on the left side, And on the right side are all the books about God and theology generally, and saints and mystics and all of that. And I have, my collection is just absolutely extraordinary. I mean, I have books that are out of print for decades. Many of them signed to me by the authors, and I love my collection back there.
Let me keep going, because when I finish
go.
my question, I want you to expand on it, and then then I'm going to shut up. A movie recommendation: Paradise Lost, The Child Murders of Robin Hood Hills. And I think Chris McDonough worked on that case. I believe he worked with the Memphis Three guys. I think he had something to do with that. I think.
Well aware of it. Yes.
Yeah, and also another movie documentary which is really good. Is Dream Deceivers, that whole case with the Judas Priest, where the two boys used a shotgun and tried to take their life. Yeah.
Never saw it. Should I?
It's so good. It's a very good documentary. It's the trial. It's the actual trial court case. It's about an hour long. It's really good. It's called Dream Deceivers.
Oh, good. And listen, in response to what somebody just said in the chat, I am working on 2 new books. One of them I think is coming out this year, and one is slated to come out in 2028. And that will be a major release book. And so you stay tuned, everyone. But anyway, okay. So let's go to your question. And
so basically, my question before. So you said you don't know about the Paul Ingram case. Well, I recommend you look.
It's not that I don't know about it. We didn't discuss it. I had wanted in the new book to discuss the case that was looked at by Ed and Lorraine Warren, whom I knew, where it was the first time in history that somebody used the legal defense of having been demonically possessed. And I thought that was quite interesting. I'm sure you're aware of that case. So I'm interested in that subject, but I want to stick to the psychological more than getting into. I think one day I could write a book about preternatural evil. And things like that. It's quite a fascinating subject. And there are actually people that engage in. I know I've treated people who have told me there are people who actually do in this world engage in black masses and in witchcraft of the dark type and things like that.
That's what I'm going to be talking about.
Yes, you'd be quite shocked what goes on out there. Anyway, go on.
I'm going to. Fucking story, but about Paul Ingram, he was a chief deputy of and his daughters, they saw a church counselor, and they used this recovered memory techniques. Which I'm sure you're familiar with, basically false memories and stuff. And they accused him of satanic sexual abuse, and he was coerced to admit to these crimes that he did not commit. And then later on, a sociologist came in for the prosecution, and they proved that he also was manipulated through these kind of techniques, false memory techniques. But he did 20 years, and when he came out, he was deemed innocent. But it's a crazy story. There's a lot going on with that. I don't want to say too much because I like the chat and for you to dig your teeth into it. So I'm going to tell a little story. And then I'll ask my question. And the story is, I'm going to do it using that whole Stephen Michaud method of, remember, the only living witness, so I'm going to do it that way to protect someone who's actually deceased now. So basically there's this person who works in the field, is the therapist, and this new person comes in from out of state, from Chicago. And this young woman is very assaultive, explosive, addicted to benzos, Xanax, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. In and out of ERs probably every 3 or 4 days. No one can manage her. No one wants the case. This particular person takes the case, teaches the person how to write poetry, to express her feelings through art and through writing. And it appears to be like a success story. She on her back had a carved pentagram her mother had carved into her at the age of 3. Her mother was involved in a satanic cult, and she was part of the rituals from age 3 to age 6. Put into foster care. Her father was a mob guy in Chicago, so she couldn't live with her father. So she was in and out of foster homes, whatnot. ends up in this facility and works her way out. And what happened with her was when she became a young female adult, very young, after age 18, uh, remember, she was removed from her mother. I think she was about 7 when and they arrested this particular group of people, but the mother ran off to England. So when she became an adult, she saved up money and hunted her mother down and paid some individuals to murder her mother.
Oh.
Later on, after this happened, maybe 10, 15 years later, she herself ends up getting murdered by her boyfriend. So my question is, how culpable should an abused child be when a crime like this, a crime of vengeance, takes place, in which, like, the adult abuser basically destroyed a child's psyche and a child, the potential future of a child? How culpable should that person be in the criminal system and in the mental health system, in the forensic system, would you say, Gary?
Well, it's a case-by-case question. The fact is that it is not possible to have a blanket rule about that.
Of course not.
And I mean, look, in my forensic work, one of the things that I work on most is mitigation. These issues of where somebody has committed a homicide or some other, and there are these sort of circumstances that created a situation of abuse or so forth, right? And I have to have an ability to simultaneously be empathic and understand that could happen, while also understanding that some people are pulling your leg and are using things as excuses. And so there is no blanket rule. It's a really, really interesting question, but I'm fascinated by your interest in the spiritual. I'm going to tell you that if I wasn't somebody that worked privately with people, both when I was studying to be a priest and in my psychological work, where people can come to you in private and tell you things that they would never say out loud to anybody else, I would not be as sure as I am that really dark stuff does happen out there. And one of the things I have to tell you that I have seen, and it sounds almost like a bad movie trope, that I have seen that has definitely been a commonality, and I've been told about it by leaders of different religious groups and so forth, is that a lot of the individuals who are plagued by things like that, and I do mean plagued, look how cute that dog is, a lot of them dabbled in dark spiritual occultism, and that does seem to be a real thing.
Yeah, but Gary, I think my question, what I'm really curious about, is more about, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line with justifiable vengeance? Remember, you brought up. Remember the father who shoots the guy who remember, he comes from the airport. The guy abused his son, and I guess in Germany, remember, there was a woman who went to the court and shot the perpetrator who had murdered her daughter.
Of course.
So where do you draw the line where this could be justifiable? Vengeance.
Well, first of all, if you're talking about, like, from the new evil perspective, we place people who do things like that very low on the scale, because what you have is a person who, under emotional duress and not coming from a kind of misanthropy, but out of a protectiveness, has an urge to do something like that. Now, this, of course, does not justify it, but courts do tend to take things into consideration, like the why, So, like, for example, if you were to have a person who found out, as Jodie Pelchet's father did, that his son was being horrendously abused, and I do mean horrendously abused, by a karate teacher, and then you go and kill the karate teacher. Obviously, killing somebody is never okay, but the general public is not going to have too much sympathy for the child molester that you took out of the world. so that people do have an ability. And the reason is it gets right to the heart of what the new evil is saying, is that we think it is more evil to do something that we can't identify with. So everyone in this audience, if you had a child, Josh, you have kids, okay?
I do.
If one of your kids as a little boy was being abused horrendously by some trusted
Josh is going Charles Bronson, bro.
you could understand a person who snaps, but that doesn't make it okay. But you can understand it, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of people who say that to me. They say, look, anything ever happens to my kid, I don't care if I have to go to prison. I'm taking that person out. There are people who say things like that. It is not acceptable. Vigilantism and all this is not acceptable, but the general public gets it. They kind of understand it. And it's an interesting phenomenon, because if it happened to you, you'd understand it. Remember, and I actually make this point in the New Evil, and I'm going to say this, Josh.
But Gary, clarify that. Clarify that, if you would.
An example.
No, why it's not acceptable. Because I think you're speaking from a viewpoint of being in this society here in America, I believe.
No, I'm speaking.
Well, clarify that a little bit.
I'm speaking from the perspective of that I don't believe, that an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I don't believe that it is okay to go out and kill someone because they have hurt someone that you love. But I understand the human passion to do it.
But you just recited the Old Testament.
We have to have laws. We are a nation of laws. We cannot go out just because we think somebody has done something.
Yeah, but it used to be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're a nation of laws.
But no. But there were laws, and back then,
I understand.
It was okay. Now
I understand.
So which one's right?
I think we've gotten a little more civilized. I'm glad that we have trials.
I mean, they would kill you for stealing cattle.
I understand, and I get what I'm trying to say. Let me make the point I was trying to make, is that now look, Josh, go ahead and hit the bell, because I have to make my reference to Sherlock. Okay. So if you look in very early,
that was good.
Very early in the New Evil, I talk about the story, the adventure of the Devil's Foot, and what that story is about. And I love that's one of my favorites. What that story is about is that Sherlock is dealt with a case where there is this whole family that is basically driven into insanity and death by, in this inexplicable way that looks almost like preternatural. Okay. And it turns out that somebody, which turns out to be a member of the family, has used a toxin that when it's combustible, and when you put fire to it, it makes everybody sort of breathe it in and kind of go mad and then die. And it turns out that it is a African ordeal ritual drug, a plant that's called devil's root, or devil's foot, excuse me. And it comes from Africa only, and so forth. And somebody has gotten their hands on it and used it in this way. It turns out that one of the members of the family wanted to kill another member of the family for money. And then this other guy who was in love with the woman who died gets the same drug, puts it in a lantern, and forces the brother who killed the woman to breathe it himself and die this agonizing death. And Sherlock figures it out. And when he figures it out, he calls the guy to himself to tell him that he figured it out, and then says to him, I want you to go, leave. I'm not going to turn you over to the police. And Watson is furious. Why are you serving as the judge here? And Sherlock says, I have never loved, but if I had, I might do as our fearless lion hunter has. In other words, he understood that if he loved someone that was killed in that horrendous way, he could understand the passion that would drive the person to take revenge like that. Well, that feeling of being able to understand that's characteristic of crimes that are very low on the scale in the New Evil. The ones we don't understand are the high ones, like going out and repetitively eating children. The average person cannot comprehend that, which adds to the feeling of evil. But the on the lower part of the scale are these kinds of things, like the person who kills someone because their child was hurt by that person. And, the fact is that if we were not a nation of laws, I think nobody would even bat an eye, because that would be like caveman times where you just like kill your enemy. But in the culture we're living in, you simply cannot do that. I think you see a lot of that going on with the Luigi Mangione case, that there are people that think, and I do not agree, who think that that was a justified homicide if he did it, right? He hasn't been found guilty. If he did it, that it was like David blowing, making a blow towards Goliath, right? Like doing something that was, for society or whatever. It's that kind of thing. And but when we talk about that case, doesn't the average person say, yeah, but even if you disagree with a person, you don't have a right to go out and kill them?
But Gary, isn't what you're talking about at the heart of the argument about the capital punishment and the death penalty?
Yes, it is, and that's why your questions are often very good. You missed your calling as a liar. A lawyer. Freudian slip. You missed your calling as a. That's so funny.
I'm a rat. You said I was a rat from the beginning, so I'm right on, man.
You missed your calling as either a lawyer or one of those, Barbara Walters style reporters that could just get anything out of anybody. But
you missed your calling to be Barbara Walters.
No, you know what I mean. But you're very good at subtly entrapping people into contradicting themselves. You have a debater's brain, and I like that. You're like William F. Buckley or something.
Do you I'm sure you've read Atlas Shrugged.
Oh yes, I love that. Although I hate the author, I absolutely love.
You don't have to hate the author. It's a political. Forget about the author's objectivism and all that. But just at the heart of the story, right? She came to the United States as a scriptwriter. She wanted to make movies, and Atlas Shrugged is all about all the creative people, all the brilliant geniuses. Just you whisper who is John Galt, and you get out of Dodge. You disappear, right. And that's probably the best solution to if a crisis like that erupts. I think the best thing would be for groups of people to just go into exile and leave. You heard about this new movie?
And first of all, sorry, I have to say this because of the chat. There are many wonderful lawyers. I was just kidding. Okay,
Joey,
just a joke. Okay.
Yeah, Josh, I want to hear what you have to say.
Are you pro death penalty or against? I would assume just from listening to you talk over, I don't know, the year or so that you've been calling, you're against it.
I would say it's definitely an individual case by case basis. When I hear a story of Chris McDonough talking about walking into a room with a child who's been dismembered and there's body parts all over the place, well, either you put that guy in an electric chair or you let me put on a mask and get on the subway and take care of this guy.
Sure.
So so someone like that deserves the most harshest punishment around. But I don't think there is the right answer for that. I think there is no right answer. But I think, no, I'm wrong, because I would lean more heavily towards every life matters, and something productive can come out of every single life, even the worst, most despicable of the most despicable. And it could be something as simple as just providing family members with stories of someone that, stories never heard of before that only this person has. It could be something as simple as that. So I would lean more towards that. But, when it comes to New Testament, Old Testament, Gary, and you are you're my priest and my exorcist, and the Old Testament is an eye for an eye. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, but
that only makes the.
I hardly think Christ would agree with that.
I'm listening to you, Josh.
Christ wouldn't agree with an eye for an eye?
No. That's I'm Robert. No.
Let me tell you something interesting about Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was she's a controversial figure. People talk about her being, this philosophy of selfishness and whatnot, objectivism and whatnot. She's buried right together with her artist painter husband. It's quite fascinating. So, a lot of her philosophy is interesting, and there's a foundation behind it. But at the heart of it, I think she even passed away on social services and with Medicaid. Her books were not selling and stuff like that. So it's an interesting character. But her book, Fountainhead, is one of my favorite books, just regarding the architect and
there's no denying that.
Incredible.
I don't deny that.
Incredible
She's
story.
a wonderful writer, but I think her philosophy horrified me. Her philosophy is like if you took Christianity and put it on a spectrum, like you'd have like Nietzsche and certain people at the other end. I mean, Ayn Rand is pretty much on the other end of the Christian spectrum, and I have a serious problem. It is like, for me, Ayn Rand's philosophy is like if you took the cross and literally turned it upside down, the entire message. And it's very interesting about Nietzsche, is that I'm sure you're familiar with Nietzsche, right?
Of course.
Okay, well, people don't realize that Nietzsche started his life very religious, and in fact used to write love poems to the crucified Jesus. And there was a very famous incident before he was put into an asylum where he was playing the piano. He was a wonderful pianist. He was playing the piano with the crucifix on the wall and started screaming at it that it did not fit into his growing philosophy, and bashing himself against the piano, and had a kind of nervous breakdown in which he wouldn't accept the cross. Well, you have to understand that at the essence of some of these philosophies is the inversion of everything that is the essence of the cross. The essence of the cross is the opposite of ego. It's giving, self-denial, right? It is the ultimate frontal lobe kind of message, right? Inhibit the self and do for other. And these philosophies are all about that there's no room for that kind of thing. That life is about kind of being the Superman, being the one that pushes everybody else out of the way, who serves the self only, and that's healthy. And I cannot get behind a philosophy like that. I think that's sort of like, in my mind, the essence of hell. It's like a roadmap to hell.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
I find that to be a deeply evil philosophy.
But also, with Jesus and the eye for an eye thing. I mean, Jesus believed in forgiveness of a radical nature, right? That's not humanistic. That's not something that we inherently have in us. That is not. It's just not possible to feel that way all the time. It's not. It's unattainable. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, but the other thing is this: there is a very big difference between forgiving and subjecting yourself to abuse.
Mm.
Now, let me be clear about that, because people will always, because people have a tendency to be absolute in their thinking. So, if, for example, let's say somebody has been abusing you for years,
Mhm.
and you go to the church, and the church says you need to forgive, even this person did this terrible thing to you. They're not saying to you, go back to that person and let them abuse you again. That's not what they're saying. They're talking about forgiveness in your heart,
Mhm.
but you also can't be an idiot.
Yeah, but
Right.
Gary, the complicated thing about what you're talking about, and I'm going to get off soon so other callers can get in.
It's very important.
But I want
the
to.
audience resonates with.
Yeah, but I want to. I can't see what's going on in the chat, but I will say, the thing about what you're talking about being abused and not being an idiot or whatever you said, people who are codependent, part of the problem with these a codependent relationship is the person who's being abused. Sometimes that, in my opinion, sometimes that love affair between these two individuals, what would be, I guess, more of a narcissistic kind of a person and the other side of that is the codependent person sees there's good in that other person, and that person wants to really work hard to try to make the relationship work, but the balance scale of problems it outweighs the ability to get to that higher level, but some of these codependent relationships, I do think it's there's true love, there's a love there, but it's
Yeah, but
Gary,
this
how
gets right into Josh's father, actually.
but
well,
Gary,
I don't know about
Yes, it
that.
does.
how would you explain if Jesus was against this? And I don't want to get caught up on this subject, but so explain the millstone.
Yeah. You're talking about where he talks about people that make children fall.
That harm children, yes.
Right. But let me be clear with you.
I mean, he's literally saying you might as well tie a millstone around your neck and be dead.
But what he means is, what he's talking about is, if a person were to do something like that and not hurl himself on the mercy of Christ, you're talking about there's a very big difference between a person who does something like that and dies in that state, and a person who is in a state like that hurls himself or herself on the mercy of Christ and then is then able to reconnect with God and find forgiveness. They have done terrible thing in the world and have to make up for that and pay a price for that spiritually. But the reality is that forgiveness is possible. Once you're dead, that's a whole other animal. The way you want to think about it is like up until the day you die, you could go down, as Fulton Sheen used to say, you could go down one road or the other. But when you die, it's permanent. So he used to say, Fulton Sheen used to say, one day at the end of time, either God or the devil will say, mine. You just don't know which one yet. Until then, forgiveness is possible even for that. It's hard to imagine it, and sometimes seems very improbable, but the reality is we are not here to say who it is that God could forgive. Let me tell you, I'm a sinner. Aren't you?
Of course.
Okay. So now
I think the closest of kin to whoever has to should make that decision, not the government, not a courtroom. I think the next of kin should make that decision. And listen, Gary, the bottom line is whether you die in the electric chair or however you die by firing squad, we're all going to meet our maker. We're all going to.
I agree with you,
we're
and I'm
all
very
going to make it. Some people get there faster than others. I can get off the phone with you right now and go, and maybe the air conditioner will fall on my head. I mean, I'm having a lot of problems with my air conditioner.
God forbid.
And if you really realize that, if you were a person who truly believed that, you would live in a dread of the reality that you had to make sure that you met your end in a state of grace.
Somebody in the chat just said you look like Meryl Streep.
Oh, that's pretty good. Thank you.
Not you, Joey.
I look like Meryl Streep. Wow, interesting. Because I was an altar boy at that church. She was in that movie Doubt, and I went to St. Anthony's. I was an altar boy at that where they called it St. Nicholas. That church for the movie. Remember the movie Doubt?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, with Meryl Streep, incredible film with Hoffman. God bless.
I see a resemblance.
Yeah,
very funny. That's a wonderful movie.
Listen, let me go. I'm gonna go listen to some Black Sabbath, and remember the Devil Wears Prada.
Joey, before you leave, you mentioned the West Memphis Three. I want you to look up I want you to look up somebody named Alvis Clem Bly. I want you to read his statements and then email me.
Yeah,
Alvis Bly, Blythe.
Alvis, like Alvis, Clem Bly.
I'm writing it down. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you spell the surname?
I don't know.
Bly. I'll find it. Whatever.
Bly. Yeah. Alvis Clem Bly.
Yeah.
Check him out.
All right. Yeah. So
that might change your mind about the Satanic Panic a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Thank you for tolerating me for all this back and forth.
And I have a recommendation for you. Can I make a recommendation to you?
Go for it.
Okay. Because you're interested in the subject. So you know that there are some books that were used as
BLY, sorry.
That were used as research when Blatty wrote The Exorcist. That
was based on a true story of a little boy.
Right, but there were books that he used for research, and some of them are actually referenced in the book where he's doing research on it because he's a psychiatrist that is Damien Karras, a psychiatrist who is an exorcist. And one of the books that is referenced, which was really used by Blatty in his research, is called Possession, Demoniacal and Other by Österreich. And that book is the book on to give a scientific study of this phenomenon that I've ever read. It's very, very disturbing. It talks all about cases that were associated with like religious missions, so-called third world countries, things like that, where these things happen that were just bizarre and inexplicable, and approaches it kind of scientifically. And it's a fascinating book. I think you'd appreciate it. It's hard to find it. I actually have, if I'm not mistaken, I have a copy right here just to prove the point that I do have these books ready at the quick. Here it is. Possession and Exorcism, that's the other title, by T.K. Österreich. And notice it has the image from The Exorcist on the cover because it became wildly popular after that movie came out, and the book drew people to the Österreich book. So I think you should consider reading that. I think you'll really like it. Okay?
Yeah, it looks like fun reading. All right, now, guys.
All right, Joey.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
I always love the calls that lead us into the theological.
Yeah,
Okay.
Joey's great.
Next.
All right. Let's see here. Mike, go ahead. You're on. Where are you calling from, Mike?
Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
Oh,
right.
that's a fascinating place. Okay.
Okay, so I actually take the time to make notes, so I'm very organized.
I like that about you right away. My kind of guy.
Okay, we're gonna go to topicality. The gas went up 30 cents a day, 30 cents a gallon today. It went from
In Jefferson County or everywhere?
Jefferson County is Harpers Ferry, yes.
That's
Well,
right.
that whole area, Maryland, West Virginia, there's 3 states that come together right there. And
Well, I think
Thomas Jefferson
Uh-huh.
he took a 2 to 3 month voyage across the Atlantic, and he went up to Jefferson Rock in Harpers Ferry, and he looked at it and he wrote down, this is worth 3 months of a rat infested trip across the Atlantic to see this site right now.
Oh, interesting. Well, we've talked many times on this show and on the interview room about Harper's Ferry by talking about John Brown. And of course, that's where he led his raid, Harper's Ferry, right?
Yes.
Although at that time, Harper's Ferry was spelled with an apostrophe.
I didn't know that.
It lost its apostrophe in 1891 due to a cartographer's error. It became Harper's Ferry without the apostrophe. But that's a fascinating story, and it's very, very cool that you are there.
It's like the four corners of the East.
So I spend half of my year here because this is where my business is. I build decks, and the other half of the year I live in St. Pete, Florida.
Another great city.
Whoops.
I know very well.
Yeah.
I know
so
that one great.
Okay, so today I woke up and all I could see was smoke everywhere. I was like, what the hell's going on over here?
Yeah, that's those are the Canadian fires.
Yeah. I didn't even know what was going on. It was just, and it's so messed up. Also the locusts, when you walk outside tonight, you walk outside the door, all you hear is locusts. They're so loud, they're like deafening almost, right?
How biblical.
Fires, locusts.
I mean, how many seals have been opened here? You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, that's deeply disturbing. You've got to see New York. It looks like it's like smothered in smoke from Canada.
So you got smoke? You got smoke?
So it's you're saying it's an improvement.
Yes. Yesterday was really bad. The air quality was terrible. I woke up today having like breathing difficulty. It's really heavy, thick.
Got to use your puffer.
Well, I'm an asthmatic, so
I need an N95 mask, I guess, just to walk around. But
it's pretty bad. So what's your true crime question?
Okay, I got true crime, and I asked this to the interview room the other night, and I think you took it the wrong way. I said, is there such thing as Nancy Guthrie fatigue syndrome? Because all of us true crimers, we've been following this for 4 or 5 months.
I think I was on that show, wasn't I?
What? Oh, it may be on your show. Yes.
I don't know if but I remember the comment. Was it just a comment in the chat? Yeah. I remember it. Yeah.
And I think Gary took it the wrong way. He was saying like I was trying to squash it. I'm not trying to squash the investigation.
I'm sorry,
I just thought there is a such thing as a fatigue syndrome that we all get.
No, I don't disagree with that. I'm sorry if you thought that I did. I think there. Oh, I remember that call. I get it. I think I said something like, if we get tired, then the case could go away, and it's the detriment of the victim. Yeah, but what you're talking about is just that there's the danger of a case being repeated so much that you experience a kind of empathy exhaustion, like you can't listen to it anymore. It's and I get that. I think that's a very human feeling. I'm sorry if I misunderstood you. I think that's a very normal reaction. It happens in empathic people, actually, that after a little while you get burnt out of it. It happens to therapists.
Really? Wow, that's interesting. That doesn't make sense. I mean, why wouldn't it?
You don't think that if a therapist is listening all day about abuse and violence,
Oh, I'm sure.
or whatever, at some point
That makes sense.
you get burnout.
That's,
You know,
I wanted to get your perspective as a therapist on, like, is that an actual diagnosis? Like, can you actually have Nancy Guthrie fatigue syndrome?
Well, I think it depends on what you mean by it. But like, let me put it this way. Somebody,
What are the symptoms and what is the cure?
A very funny text about my Freudian slip before, where I said liars instead of lawyers, because it's a person that I have a wonderful connection with who watches the show, who happens to be an attorney and a damn good one. Look, it depends on the motive. If you're talking about being motivated by empathy and you get a burnout, yeah, I think that's a very real thing. The fact is that empathy arises from a limbic process where a person can, honest to God, experience overwhelming stress and a feeling of numbness, almost a dissociative reaction, where a person just can't listen to it anymore. Anyone who's been in a family, for example, where they're the primary caretaker, will experience that kind of burnout. It's just human. If you're talking about callousness and being the kind of person who just listens to true crime because it's amusing and is like, I'm done with this story, give me another one, that's another story. And so I think it depends what's motivating it. Are you talking about being tired of hearing about it because it's just pulling too much on your heartstrings? Or do you mean like, the story has gotten dull because there's nothing new and it just keeps
No,
going?
I love the story. The story is great. It's just tantalizing. But there comes a point where it's too much. It's like we just went over it so many times, right?
So you think that it's taking on a quality of, like, from an intellectual perspective, of feeling like a cat chasing its tail, like just going in a circle over and over, and it's sort of losing its momentum.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, Josh, why don't you take that? I'm
Sorta.
curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there's no new information coming out, there's only so much you can really talk about. You can only look at Porch Guy, so many times, and yeah, of course. I mean, unless there's new information in any case, I've hit the wall with many cases when it comes to new information, and I do think that we're sort of getting there in the Nancy Guthrie case, if not completely there. And what ends up happening is, now sometimes what happens is you end up sort of manufacturing new, well, people do, like, manufacturing new theories and thoughts, and sort of get a little farther outside of the box, and to the less common thoughts and theories that may be possible but not probable. But with a case like this, they usually last about, I'd say about an 8 to 9 month cycle, and sort of fade off until the next big thing happens. And that's what's going to end up eventually happening. You had the Rodney King, remember the Rodney King beating, then you had OJ. Everybody forgot about Rodney King. And then, after OJ, there was, I can't even remember, but there was another big case right after that, and on and on and on. So, I mean, to be honest with you, what is it, 185 days, a Nancy Guthrie case? It's not incredibly long, but if there's not really any new information, it can become tedious, for sure.
Okay.
Although people still have a desire to discuss this case because of the circumstances and how crazy it is that an 84-year-old woman has seemingly disappeared off the face of the earth.
Dr. Gary, I had a question about Porch Guy.
Go on.
Okay. Is the guy with the backpack the same guy as the guy with the no backpack?
I think so. I think everybody that we've seen on the camera is the same person. But I do not think that only one person is involved. I think at this point, anybody who says that, it's just not fathomable to me. I cannot accept the one person hypothesis. No. It's interesting because the people who say that have theories based in criminology where that type of crime would generally be committed by a lone offender, like a person obsessed with you or a person with a sexual motivation or whatever. It's more likely to have to just be a one person job. But I think this was a financially driven sort of elimination process or an attempt to get money, in some way, with a fake abduction story, whatever. And these kinds of things are generally committed by a cabal of people. My guess is there was a vehicle with a driver, Porch Guy, and at least one other person behind the scenes. At least three would be my guess.
I don't think it had to do with money at all.
What on earth do you think motivated it?
It was more politically actually motivated.
You mean because of Savannah's interest in the?
No, it had nothing to do with Savannah either. She just happened to be there.
What would be the political?
It has more to do with the cartel. Why did the guy the first guy that walked up on the porch, he wore a gun right in the middle of his crotch, right? What do you call that?
It was a revolver.
It's a cartel carry.
No, I'm aware of that, but the thing is, that's something that other people have mentioned to me. That some people say he's just an idiot who doesn't know because the firearm doesn't match the holster. Other people have pointed that out, that the way of carrying may be suggestive of some exposure to something like that. I don't know. I do not think it involved a cartel. I think this is a personal cause thing where somebody hired a goon to do this. And one of the hypotheses that I have been considering, and let me be clear, because people are very black and white.
It's all hypothesis.
Right. It's all hypothesis. They're very black and white. They think I'm married to this theory, Right. But one hypothesis I am considering, because everyone knows I'm considering the staging theory, right?
I think it was staged. I think the front porch was staged.
I definitely think there's staged of some sort here.
We can go from there.
But I think that one hypothesis is something like this. Somebody who knows Nancy in some way. Now, let me be clear. It doesn't have to be an intimate. It could be, but it could also be somebody who sort of worked with you or knew you or whatever. Okay. So let's say, no, I never said it was sexual assault. I rejected that. Someone in the audience suggested that. No, I've called that absurd from the get-go.
What'd you say? I missed that. What'd you say?
Somebody in the audience said that I said that it could be SA. No, I have said.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I threw that out from the very first day. Okay. But okay, so somebody who knows her, let's say, owes money to someone or has a debt. They've gone to a loan shark, or they owe someone money for some debt or whatever. We don't know what it is, but perhaps if this theory is true, they owe someone money. Okay, so now they got to get money to that person, and no one's going to give it to them. So they get the idea, hey, we know this woman, Savannah, who's got a lot of money. Maybe we could find a way to get her to put money into Bitcoin, and that'll pay off the guy. That'll pay off the guy. So, but what we'll do is we'll kidnap this woman. They'll put the money into the Bitcoin, and then, we could return her. Problem is she dies.
Yeah, but Gary, you've done all the analysis before. What's the probability of that happening? It's 1 in 1,000 million.
Not really. Actually, somebody that knows you trying to do some stupid boneheaded thing like that is not that crazy. But it's a possibility. The more likely possibility based on statistics is that it was simply an elimination. They wanted her out of the way to get money, and the point was to make it look like an abduction when it was really just a murder. That is the simplest, most basic hypothesis that most of us entertain. And or it could be somewhere between that, an attempted abduction to get money for a different reason, and she dies. All I know is that I do not believe that she is alive.
Why? No, she's definitely not alive. And they knew that night. They had data from the pacemaker was uploaded, so the doctors already knew that. But why did he wear the gun in the middle?
It could just because he's a moron. That reminds me.
Really?
Remember
that you think it's that? You think it's just as simple as that? He's a moron.
Remember that show, The Golden Girls? Remember that show?
Yeah,
the TV show,
yeah.
Golden Girls?
I didn't really watch it that much, but
there's a very funny episode where
it's all right if you did. Don't worry.
And Rose Nyland is an idiot, right? The one that lives there, the one that's from St. Olaf. Okay, so what happens is Dorothy, played by B. Arthur, goes to do stand-up comedy, and she's actually very good at it. And her mother, Sophia, played by Estelle Getty, says, "Dorothy, I've been working on some jokes for your act. I got one for you." And she goes, "Okay, let me hear it, Mom." And she goes, "Why did Rose throw the alarm clock out the window?" "Because she's a moron." Well, anyway, I think that's hysterical. In other words, I think the answer is going to be to see time fly, right? Just because she's a moron.
Makes sense. But Mike, let me ask you this. So if you think it's cartel related, you think it's cartel related, but you don't think that it involves Savannah, then what's the point? Nobody else has money.
It's politically motivated. It has to do with the cartel wars that's going on recently. If you study the cartel wars, it's pretty thick. And also Nancy's neighbor, he was a cartel guy. He ran a big silver mine down in Sinaloa, whatnot, and he was the gym king. Okay, he ran the gym show in Savannah at Tucson every year. He ran the gym. He ran the biggest silver mine in the world, and it got attacked by the Sinaloa cartel, and they killed 10 miners in that mine in January. This is a month before this whole thing went down, right?
Yeah.
So you need to start looking at stuff like that.
I never heard that story. Where did that happen? I want to look it up.
No, it's true. And the guy next door, he lives right next door. It's 5800 that road. It was funny because 5820 is where Nancy, that's her name. That was my address. But no, the guy next door, he's a silver king. He's a silver mine king. He runs the biggest silver mine in the world. It's in Sinaloa, Mexico. And also Nancy's husband, he died back in the 70s. He died in Sinaloa. He was a silver mine engineer also. So there's a lot of this stuff that keeps combining. If you're an investigator, if you're Chris McDonough, when you start putting that stuff together?
What do you think?
I mean, maybe, but I was under the impression that the way that he was carrying the gun was actually called a Mexican carry.
Well, you can call it a Mexican or a cartel carry. It goes
okay,
both
but
ways.
not all Mexicans are cartel, not all cartel are Mexicans, and Arizona has a heavy Mexican population, so it wouldn't be abnormal for just a low-level street thug to carry a gun.
Did you know that the Tucson corridor is the largest drug and human trafficking corridor in America? And Chef Nanos is right there. He's the chef or the sous chef. Or, you got everybody. So figure it out. I'm trying to feed you guys information, but.
No, I mean, I'm listening. I'm just, I just think that there's a heavy Mexican population in Arizona. And I cannot, for some reason, and maybe, maybe you know something or believe something that I can't quite cross the bridge to. I don't see how an 84-year-old woman is retaliation for a cartel.
So here's the message. We can disappear America's grandma, and you can't do anything about it. And we can do it again if you want us to. Do you want us to do it again? That's the message. They disappeared America's grandma. That's a powerful statement.
Yeah, but I don't think she was America's grandma, though.
Well, she is now.
Well, that's
Right?
true. That's true.
But that's
But-
it. That's
Yeah, but
it.
it's after the fact.
What do you think, Dr. Gary?
Look, I did not believe in ridiculing anybody's hypothesis. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not either. I'm just discussing it.
Right. Neither of us do. Because a hypothesis is just that. You're putting an idea out there. However, the signs in this case point more to a non-cartel situation. The main reason is that if you know anything about cartel cases, and I'm sure you do, you know that cartels are very proud of what they do. There is no reason whatsoever for them to conceal what they do. They make the message plain and clear.
That's why they wear the gun in the middle.
Right. Well, but then there would be somebody out there, an expert on cartels, who would say, I know exactly what that message means. It's like if the mafia sends you a piece of newspaper with a dead fish in it.
Or a dead fish on a porch, right?
Right. Like, you know exactly what it means. It's a clear message. You open up a letter and there's a black feather in it. You know, you get the hint. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the idea. You know. So I think that, I mean, Josh, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, of course.
Those kind of groups are not afraid to tell you. In fact, sometimes there's it when I was studying mutilation and dismemberment crimes with Ann Burgess and Victor Petrecka, one of the things I learned that I learned from Victor actually is that there are crimes of mutilation of body parts that are done to send messages, and it's called communication dismemberment or communication mutilation, where the point is to give a message. You know, sending a tongue to someone to indicate that they were a rat, and they talk to the police.
Or like a horse head.
Yeah, it's a form of butchery that's designed to give a message. Another example being the Sicilian mafia thing of cutting a grin into a person's face. You know, the Sicilian necktie, right, and pulling the tongue out like a necktie through the mouth. These are messages. There's nothing like that in this story. This is
Really? You don't think there's no message
in this? Who's the message to?
It's to the government. It's a bigger level.
It's an interesting point. I mean, I am inclined against it, but I think I don't mock any theory, because when this case is finally cracked, and I think it will be, somebody's going to be right and somebody's going to be wrong, and I think people should just be like, great experts got together and came up with theories about this, and they can't all be right. And you like
Dr. Gary,
and a lot of us are going to be wrong, and someone's going to be right. Yeah.
I got a question about what is your latest idea as to what kind of person is the porch guy?
Oh, I think that porch guy was a probably drug using,
Really?
kind of quasi sociopathic.
Why'd you say really? Like, you don't. What do you think?
He's high on dope.
He goes, really? What do you think? He's like a Fortune 500 company operator?
I think he's a guy who's had some previous criminal experience. He's probably used some drugs. He's and I think is a little bit of a kind of sociopathic type that just like is very cool under pressure because he's got no conscience probably. And basically what I think is that somebody trying to make this look like some person who had no idea who Nancy was, targeted her. Needed to pay this person to do it, and he botched it because he's dumb as a bag of hammers, and that's why I think I thought of the Rosen Island joke.
Bob or Mike, have you ever seen the movie 8 Mile?
No.
Okay,
No.
well, there's a guy in the movie. His name's Cheddar Bob, and he holds the gun the exact same way Porch Guy does, and basically shoots his testicles off.
I love the way he carries the gun. It's just so nonchalant. It's like, look at me now. Look at me.
Well, Mike, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. And call again, please.
Oh, hold on. I got one more question for Gary.
All right, go ahead.
It's so I think the porch guy, I'm going to give you my synopsis. He's from deep in Mexico, probably West Coast. Okay, they brought him in to do the job. He doesn't know shit. He's not local. He came in to do the job. You could see the way he was creeping around the porch. He'd like act like he didn't know anything about that area. He's just walking around, and he was showing you the creeper. The whole thing was a message to show creep. So everybody saw that creep. This is the biggest thing, man. I'm telling you, everybody saw the creep on the porch. It was one of the worst things we've all seen. When I saw it, I went into a fetal position and crawled up. It was so bad.
But I don't think we were supposed to see him.
Well, we saw him. They showed it to
We
us.
did, but I think it was happenstance that they were able to actually pull this video. I just don't think that it was ever supposed to be seen personally.
Yeah, well, we saw it, and then we also saw the other guy that supposedly came January 11th or something or whatever. I don't know the dates. And I think they're two different people. Also, the backpack guy and the no backpack guy. And I think you can forensically do a study on that, Dr. Gary. You could look at the two pictures and you could determine if they're the same person or not, right?
I think so. I mean, I also think that the eyes through the mask could technically be analyzed.
I think it's the metrics of the body. You could do biometrics, and you could do measurements like millimeters stuff.
Well, look, I think every kind of thing has been done. I mean, just to give you an example, when that case first happened, I tried to figure out what company made the tile that was on the floor.
Really? You went that deep?
Well,
you went that deep in the rabbit hole?
Let me explain why. I wanted to know what kind of tile it was so that I could look up the measurements, because when Porch Guy stands on the tile, I wanted to be able to estimate his foot size.
Damn, Gary, you never told us that.
Yeah, I know. You just coming out with that shit? Come on.
Yeah.
Because I wanted.
It took Mike to bring that out on you.
Well, I wanted to be able to determine things like that because it gives you an idea of height and other features. Right. So that's what I'm trying to tell you is that, you know, there are clever ways to deduce all kinds of things. And, you know, and I wanted to know that. You know, it's quite astounding if you're clever what you could wring out of a scene. You know, two people could look at the same scene and, you know, realize that in a glance, you could put together quite a fascinating profile. Another person would be like, there's nothing here, you know? But yeah, I think like that. Josh, don't you?
No.
Oh, well.
I have one more question for Dr. Gary. This is the best question.
Oh, boy. 84.
You ready? Because I have everything written down, right? I've already done all the research.
Go ahead.
So how does Chris McDonough and Bob and John, and you know those guys, you work with them.
Yeah, they're my friends.
How do they deal with the gruesome death scenes they have to deal with? They have to smell the blood and everything. I mean, how do they deal with that? Do they compartmentalize that, or do they seek help? I mean, this is the question I have. This is my question.
I can't answer for any particular individual. First of all, because they either haven't told me or they have, and it's their business. But I will say that in the opening chapter of the book I'm doing that's coming out in 2028, if all goes to
What's it named?
When the new book, it's going to be called The Traveler in the Darkness. That book, in the first chapter, I talk about interviews I've been doing with law enforcement and forensic psychologists and other experts that actually have to look at gruesome things and how they deal with it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I can tell you is a lot of them deal with it by coming to the conclusion that what they're doing is a spiritual process.
Spiritual.
Yes, it's a spiritual process. And they're
doing God's work.
Yeah, right. So that it becomes possible to deal with it. And then you get other people who have the feeling of compartmentalization, and you have the people who deal with it through a kind of a denial of, you know, and then it comes out in their dreams. You know, I talk to a number of them that tell me, look, I'm not going to.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating, right?
Yes. Well, Michael Stone, and if you read his book, Anatomy of Evil, talks about how he used to have dreams that were how he would let this stuff slip out. I remember him warning me in one of my favorite conversations I ever had with him. I remember sitting in that office he had all filled with books and everything else. and he said to me, and nonchalantly, like a master psychiatrist in his little three-piece suit, I remember he said to me, "You want to do this book with me? You know, I think you'd be the best to do it with me, whatever." Okay, great. And then he said, "How do you deal with it?" So we talked about it, and he said, "If you're going to do this book and you're going to be looking with me at scenes of murder and slaughter and everything, crime scene photos, perversions, whatever,
It's nasty.
by perverts, whatever he meant." He said, "It's going to start to come out in your dreams." And he said, "And when it happens, I want to talk about them." And then he referred me to his book, the Anatomy of Evil, where he talked about a dream he had that was very just ugly, hard dream. And he said that that's just what's going to happen if you compartmentalize it. And and of course, he was right that I remember when I was writing that book.
So are you saying when you compartmentalize stuff, it gets bottled up?
It's got to come out somehow.
It's got to come out somehow, right?
Yeah, it's like putting the cap on the tube of toothpaste too tight. It's going to come out one way or another. Yeah, comes out. It's got to come out.
I happen to know that Chris likes to play dominoes, so maybe that's the way it happens. All right, Mike, we got a bunch of calls waiting, so thank you so much. We appreciate your call.
Dr. Gary, it was good talking to you, my man.
It was really nice to talk to you. You're a smart guy, and I like your.
Also, we talked about dating last time. Remember?
I remember.
We won't go back there then.
I remember too.
Take care of yourself.
All right, bye, Mike. All right, let's go. Absalom, are you there?
Hey, Mr. Diaz. How are you? And Dr. Gary, how are you, Dr. Gary?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I always love when you call. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So far, so good.
You sound a little
tired.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You sound a little tired. Are you having a hard day?
So. Josh, I wanted to thank you when I was listening. I had to call in for creating this channel and for creating a venue for, I think you've got over 50,000 subscribers right now. Creating a venue for people, including myself, to be able to express their views and to be able to talk about things where other people will not listen. And you created a family, so to speak. And that is something very wonderful. And you have a lot of people that love you, Josh. So on behalf of my family, I know you're going through a tough time. My prayers are with you. And I don't know you, we don't hang out at a bar or something every Friday night, but I wanted to thank you for everything you do and know that you are very well loved by a lot of people. And I hope that that is going to be something that helps you get through this very difficult time. Dr. Gary, you told me a few calls ago that I was a great man. Josh is a great man. I am not a great man. I have not done that. So now on to true crime.
Okay. I hope I can live up to being a great man. but I don't know what's the secret? How does one become great?
How does one become great? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
Well, one can become great by making others great instead of focusing on themselves.
He that would be great among you must be your servant.
No. Dr. Gary, regarding the Nancy Guthrie case, in your experience, when was the last time that people that were kidnapping someone for ransom,
right,
instead of leaving a note at the scene of the abduction, decided to write 2 emails to Harvey Levin on TMZ asking for Bitcoin?
It's pretty odd. pretty odd.
Something
Well,
to
no,
coin Detective McDonough.
right.
Something isn't right.
DLR
Okay.
does not look right.
Yeah, it doesn't look right. And I don't think personally that the cartel would do. I would guess would lower their standards and do something along those lines of kidnapping Nancy Guthrie. I don't think that that's their style of doing things, but you never know. But I don't personally. I personally have a theory about it, which I'm not going to get into. But it just I find it very odd that nothing was left at the scene requesting money. Instead, Harvey Levin on TMZ got 2 emails or whatever he got that he got turned over to the FBI. I don't remember what it was, but it just seemed very odd to me that that this has been deemed, a kidnapping for ransom case, but that's the way that the person requested the ransom. Anyway, have you seen Oppenheimer, Dr. Gary?
Oh yeah, I love that.
That's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
Did you see speaking of Oppenheimer, did you see the new Nuremberg?
Yes. And Russell Crowe was absolutely fantastic in that movie. But God help him, he's put on at least 200 pounds since Gladiator.
Yeah, he was pretty big.
He had to fill the void.
Herman Goring was a big boy.
He had to fill the void by the death.
I hate even talking about any of those people because of.
But Dr. Gary, it actually reminded me of you because
Sebastian Cabot was a
and I was just like, that's what you would do if you were in the military back then. Like they would call, you. And I think that like it was almost like a playground for him. He was just fascinated, even though these people were disgusting. He was fascinated by the human brain and really and back to our caller that just called in. Compartmentalization. I mean, he took his own life. He talked to the worst of the worst, and like you said, it comes out one way or the other. It was do you
have any conception the things that Nazis did?
No, I mean, on surface level, it's very bothersome, to be honest with you.
It's
just that knowing that people can do that to other humans.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to share something with you. Just stay there.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, that is just unbelievable. But it was, and Absalom, I would have to disagree with you.
Okay.
I think that you're a great man, and I think that I'm pretty good judge of character, and I know for a fact, Dr. Gary, because I've witnessed it, that you are on several occasions.
Well, I think Dr. Gary is an extraordinary person as well as you, Josh. Me, please, not even in the same category.
Oh,
but going back to what
and I want to show
Gary was.
Go on.
I'm sorry, Dr. Gary, I can't hear you.
I said I want to show you something when you're done.
Yes, go for it. Go ahead, Dr. Gary.
Make your point first.
Well, you were talking about whether or not if a person kills somebody.
Oh.
Well, maybe what's his name? The lawyer. Anyway, the caller before. If someone deserves a death penalty, if they've murdered somebody or killed a child, I think he said, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, Dr. Gary, that even Christ asked, "Father, forgive them; they do not know what they're doing." While they're nailing his hands and his feet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to Josh's point, Christ is on a whole other level than we are. Okay, we can't understand and view things. We can't judge people. We're imperfect the same way that anyone else that's human is. Christ, and he's, he can judge us. We cannot judge others. However, I can understand, being a father, how if someone did something to my child, I would want to do something. But also at the same time, the circumstances, is the person that did something mentally ill? Are they? Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't have pain. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't want that person, something bad to be done to them. But I guess it's circumstantial in terms of how, whatever happened. Now, Dr. Gary, I don't know if you differ as a psychologist, the way that I view things regarding that. I don't know if you have children or not, but if something happened to one of your children, I think you'd understand my viewpoint.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. I would understand it, but I would use my braking system in the context of understanding that we're a system of laws and that the person simply has to go through a legal process. But I understand the animalistic protective urge. I mean, there's a reason we have, fingernails and canine teeth. We were once, pretty bestial. And you get what I'm saying? I mean, we have an animal nature. And the reality is I think we have to be civilized and allow the law to work. Remember that ultimately, even though it doesn't make sense to people, when you look at the cross, the crucifix, from a human perspective, it's an instrument of revenge and death and gore. From the spiritual perspective, it's a symbol of law. It's a symbol of the truest law, the balancing act that has to exist between amendment with God and the sins that people commit. And imagine the notion that God, in order to settle a debt with himself, decides to send himself. That's the idea. It makes no sense outside of a theological construct. And think about doing so by the mechanism of humbling yourself to be a person, to be limited in a human body, and then be subject to the people you created. Now, to me, that's an enormous humility. And I think that is the lesson that we're being taught. It's like if God is a father figure, in his wisdom, he's teaching us that greatness is about condescension of the self to be small, not to be bigger than somebody. And I think that is very, very difficult. And I think God understands when we slip up and we do the human thing. I think he understands. But at the same time, we should strive to be higher than that. It's very difficult. You have to find a way to take your human passions and nail them to that wood. Because if you take your fist and you give in, that's not the cross. The cross is the denial of the cudgel. If Jesus wanted to, he could have turned around and zapped everybody, sending them to the cross. But he didn't.
Well, remember what he told
Right.
I could call on legions of angels if I wanted to right now. Remember when the Roman soldiers were trying? Yeah.
So. I know. So now let me I want to show you something before you hang up, because you mentioned the evils of.
But Dr. Gray, can I just ask one question? And then we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but the way that I understand that is that when Jesus was on the cross and he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Was that him accepting them into heaven?
No.
I personally think it was for his father not to take vengeance upon those that were.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yes. because it could have been pretty ugly. Now,
well, remember that God's name,
right.
uh, Yahweh, means he who causes to become. And a lot of people don't understand that. I had one guy arguing with me one time about this. How could he not do anything to the people that were doing this to his son? And if that's what his name means, maybe he had to make himself into someone that could accept what was being done to Jesus while he was suffering and witnessing all this from the heavenly realm. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not a spirit creature. But I'm not sure. I know I don't think I could have not done anything in that circumstance, Josh. But I understand what you're saying. But I think that that's what he meant was please don't take vengeance upon those that are doing this to me, Father.
I'm not so sure that you're not a spirit creature. Remember that that's the whole point of the construct of being born again. That which is flesh is flesh. That which is spirit. The point is that Christianity is about being reborn as a son or daughter of God. Remember what C.S. Lewis said beautifully? He said to understand Christianity, and this is why Pinocchio is in many ways a Christian story. What C.S. Lewis said was that Christianity was like if there was a toy factory where you had all these things that were made in a humanoid form, dolls and puppets and things. And a rumor went around the toy factory that one day they were all going to come alive. He said, if you understand that construct, you understand Christianity. Humanoid creatures made in the image and likeness of God that one day will truly be sons and daughters of God. Just like Pinocchio comes alive and becomes the true son of Geppetto. It's a process of becoming a fully alive spiritual creature. And, it means death to the flesh. And another way to kill the flesh, to defeat the flesh and the ego, is to not give in to violent temptations. And sometimes you get tested like that. It's very, very important. Well, anyway, it's a beautiful thing to talk about Christ. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do it. But please let me show you something before I don't have the opportunity. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't normally share my, the things I study and collect in my work. So you were talking about the Nuremberg trials, and the fascinating thing to me is the vast.
I hate talking about them, but yeah.
The vast machinery of evil, right, that went on. And I have things that were given to me in my many years of working with Holocaust survivors and other people. And I want to show you some things that I think are really very interesting. So this is a postage stamp from Theresienstadt. Do you know what Theresienstadt is?
I can't see, Dr. Gary.
Well,
Hold on a second.
There, in the camera. See this little postage stamp? Okay. Theresienstadt was a camp, a concentration camp that the Nazis created purposely so that they could show it to the Red Cross and fool them believing that the camps were humane places.
Yes.
So Theresienstadt was designed to be a wonderful place, and it had no postage stamps, so that you could make it look like it was a lovely little place, right? And if they went there, they would get the wrong idea about what was going on elsewhere. Now, here's another example of something I have, which is quite interesting. This is a letter that was sent from Auschwitz-Birkenau by an inmate. You can't really see it. It says at the top, concentration camp Auschwitz. And it's very, very interesting because translated from German, it's an absolute lie. The person writing it was clearly forced to write it. And it gives a whole bunch of nonsense about what a terrific place it is and how good the food is. But what's extremely interesting is that in the letter, it tells the person receiving the letter to save the stamp on the envelope for his collection. And on a hunch, I steamed the stamp off of the envelope, and underneath it was a secret message. And the secret message said that they had hurt him very badly. So in this nonsense BS letter, he tells the brother, everything's great. Save the stamp for me. And under the stamp, he says that they were hurting him.
Wow.
And I've got other things like that, in my collection. And then I'll show you one more thing I think you'll find fascinating. These are postage stamps that were created at great, great risk of life in Germany. They were stamps that originally had the face of Hitler on them, but the resistance movement stamped skulls over the face of Hitler to predict his death. See? And using those on a postage stamp, on a letter, could get you killed. And I have a lot of things like that that fascinate me. And these were things given to me by people who survived.
That's crazy.
It's quite amazing. And I've got a lot of things like that. And it really makes you understand, that this stuff really happened. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I understand completely, Dr. Gary.
Little postage stamps from hell.
I'd like to know Dr. Gary on a personal note real quick, if you don't mind, Josh. Do I have time to ask him this real quick?
All right,
Do.
How would you want me to feel, Dr. Gary, about the people that put me in this chair?
Oh, I don't know the story of how you end up in a chair. Tell me.
No, well, I'm not going to do that on the air, but
It was a violent incident that led to you being in the chair without detail?
I'm sure Detective Madonna could find out if he wanted to. But
Oh boy.
psychologically,
I got it.
there's certain things that you have to do. You talked about compartmentalizing, like how the detectives have to compartmentalize certain things in order to do their job effectively. And at times, because when this happened, my kids were still young, and they basically took away my ability to be a regular. Anyway, I'm not going to make this a sob story about me. I'm just wondering, I was curious that if you were the victim of something, Dr. Gary, would you want justice to be served cold? How would you view that? Or would you want them to go through the process and show mercy to people that were not repentant for what they did?
Oh, this is a very extremely difficult question because it hasn't happened to me. Let me put it to you like this. I would like to think that in such a situation, the animal part of me would want revenge, and the spiritual part of me would view it as an opportunity to glorify God through forgiveness. But probably being a human being, it would be very difficult to do that. And I can give you an example. I mean, I've had incidences in my life where a person cuts me off or says a terrible thing to me, and I retort. I snap back verbally because it's so awful what the person did. I would like to think that I was a person who could do that. I'll tell you a story that I heard recently. I'm a very big fan of the Catholic saint Thérèse of Lisieux. She was a nun, a Carmelite nun, died very young of tuberculosis. She was a very holy woman. She wrote a very famous book called The Story of a Soul, which I recommend. And she tells the story that there was a nun that she absolutely hated her guts. She said that she believed that the devil put this woman in her path to make her hate someone. She loathed this woman. And this was a nun who went out of her way to be nasty with like a capital N. And what happened was she decided that she was going to fight through her temptation to retort and to spend time with this nun purposely to force herself to love her. And what happened is after months of holding in her anger, not telling this nasty old bat what she thought of her, having to push her around in a wheelchair and feed her with a spoon and everything else while she was being insulted. The woman said to her, the other nun said to her, "It's very strange, sister. No matter what I say and do to you, you always look at me so lovingly. What is it that is so attractive about me that you look at me like that, no matter what I say to you?" And St. Teresa's answer was, "I'm not looking at you. I'm looking through you, and I see Christ." Now, that's an extremely difficult thing to do. It is the highest achievement spiritually a person could have, is to view everyone as an extension of the Eucharistic Christ, as ultimately, But I think that that's a challenge. And what you need to do, I have to tell you from a spiritual perspective, is that you have to try to find a way to understand that God resides in the flesh of even these awful people and view them as pitied. Because from a spiritual perspective, they're in a lot of trouble. They're on the precipice of endless eternal darkness. And you have to view them with pity. And that is why Christ says you have to pray for those who hurt you. Pray for those who hate and despise you. Because spiritually speaking, they're in a lot of trouble. And that's where justice comes.
I can understand that.
I
But
know. You're also human. You're human.
I also think that to live with hatred and to live with
I've had it. We've all had it towards someone. Right.
Of course, a desire for revenge makes your life miserable. And if you continue to dwell on that, you're not going to be able to enjoy the good times.
Bingo.
And so I think I did share with you that, like I explained, to my son at the time, that I was Darth Vader, I was half metal and I was half body. But, I have to focus on the fact that it enabled me to spend a lot more time at home rather than, but eventually being at home, I couldn't stay at home for long. I had to be able to go and get out and do something fruitful. And that's why I try to help others. But I won't waste any more of your time, Josh. I'm sorry, and I appreciate you allowing me to take all this time, because I know you got a lot of callers.
Waste our time? Do you
Absolutely
understand that you were just used by some sort of heavenly force, I think, to allow us to have a conversation that may have touched at least one person's life profoundly? You have to understand that. And remember, they broke his legs.
But Dr. Gary, Josh has touched thousands of lives.
Oh, yeah. True.
Okay. Like I said, that is a great man. You are a great man, Dr. Gary.
I don't know.
I do not view myself as great, Dr. Gary. But I appreciate the compliment, because I know you're being sincere. But anyway,
it depends on the measure of greatness. I think that in the end, the one who loves the most wins. Greatness is measured by the amount that you give away, the greatness of your love, and you need to understand that. And it is because you love and have humility that you are incapable of being told that you're good. And that's a beautiful thing. But remember, it can only be seen by the people outside of you. If you are truly a good person, you will look in the mirror and say, "I am terrible." Because good people do that. It's evil people that think they're great. Don't you understand that?
I understand, Dr. Gary. By the way, I would take you on a date, Dr. Gary, as long as my wife can come with us. Okay. But anyway, you guys have a good night.
I'll
talk to you guys
Padme?
What's
Padme?
that?
Your wife Padme?
Well, but anyway, you guys, Padme's dead. Please don't forget that. But anyway,
but that's true. That's a good point. I was making
it dead. So I would think that anyway, let's not get there.
Oh,
but anyway, man, Dr. Gary, you're pretty cool. But anyway,
what's that line about that the path, the force is a pathway to some forces?
The force is a pathway to things some might find
Unnatural. Yes.
Unnatural. Yeah.
The path.
Well,
you know, I love the Emperor. Yeah, I find the Emperor hilarious. He is hilarious. He gives. I got to tell you something just before you go. I find Star Wars very campy. It's almost like a John Waters movie. It's campy, and I think the character.
Oh my God! Talk about the hate mail you are going to receive.
Right. And the character of the Emperor is very campy. He's bitchy, actually. And the funniest thing about the Emperor is the line. I remember even as a kid, I found it funny. Is when Luke is sort of whining to him that, you know, his friends are going to come and save the day and destroy it. And the Emperor says in this bitchy way, he goes, "Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive." And I remember even as a kid going, "Oh my God, this is so campy." And it's campy. And a lot of that is campy. But
did you get to go see that at Graham's Chinese theater in Los Angeles?
No, I remember where I saw it, but not there. But I will tell you that I think it's campy because it is mimicking the dialogue style of cult cinema, like Flash Gordon, things like that. So it's
the whole thing, the beginning of the movie with the script going down, it brought back, you know, love for movies, because at the time some of the stuff that was coming out was garbage. But anyway, I'm still shocked that it lost to, I think it was Annie Hall for Best Picture. But anyway, you guys have a good night. I look forward to our date, Dr. Gary. Just let me know what you want to eat.
And you know, Absalom, there'll be a lot
Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. Oh my God! No.
Don't get me started. But Absalom, I think, you know, it's nice to know that we'll spend heaven with you.
Well, I hope to be there one day. Maybe we'll see.
I think a lot more people are going to be there than we want to think about. I think there's going to be people there we're furious about that are there. Let me put it to you that way. I think we're going to be going, why is that person here? But you know, it's forgiveness. God's mercy is extraordinary.
Well, God bless both of you, and hope to talk to you guys soon. And Dr. Gary, I bid you adieu. Josh, keep on doing what you're doing, brother. Our prayers and everything else are with you. Okay, take care. God bless you guys. Good night.
Night.
Bye-bye. What a nice man. Bye-bye.
Always.
Such a nice
All
man.
right, let's.
I always love the calls. Yeah. We have such beautiful calls tonight.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Don't you love these call-in shows?
I do.
They're the best.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
It's like a ministry. All right, next.
Melissa, go ahead. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Indiana.
Indiana.
Oh,
let me see. Hold on.
Sounds like you're calling from inside of a thimble.
Hold on. Let me see if I can help that at all. Where are you at?
I saw where you're going to have a show, and I thought, oh, I figured out a question, a true crime question, and then the show comes on, and you.
Where is?
First thing, tell what's happened today. Do you believe in there's no such thing as coincidences?
Well,
hey, Melissa, can you try to turn your microphone up on your end?
Well, she said, do you believe there's no such thing as coincidences?
Yeah, no. Well, you can answer. I'm trying to get her mic up. Can you try it again? I don't know. You want to go ahead and answer that, Dr. Gary?
It's complicated. I think it depends on your perspective. From a psychological perspective, we like to make meaning out of things that may simply have no significance. And then there are synchronicities, which are these sort of accidental events that look like they have meaning. And then there's the spiritual, mystical interpretation. You know, but there are a lot of people who just simply take the attitude that coincidences just couldn't happen by chance, and therefore they must have some kind of meaning. I've had strange synchronicities and things happen in my life that are hard to explain. Thinking of a person and then the phone rings and it's them and I haven't talked to them in years. We've all had those weird things like that. I think it just depends on the perspective you're using. From a psychological perspective, you have to find a rational way of explaining it. From a spiritual perspective, weird stuff happens. Haven't you had experiences like that, Josh?
Sure, yeah. I absolutely. I have.
Give me one. Let me hear one.
I mean, nothing comes up to mind off the top of my head, but I certainly have had experiences like that. And I mean, but I don't. I believe in coincidences, but I don't think they're as common as people think. I mean, that's just sort of how I feel about it. But in certain situations, when like when something's too good to be true, or or things like that, it usually is. They say that there's, especially in crime, they say there's no coincidence in crime. I sort of agree with that. But as for coincidence in general, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I believe in, I think there are.
Can you hear me?
Kind of, not much.
You're probably going to be like, that wasn't my question.
My mic's not. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's okay. You have such a sweet voice. You sound like such a nice person.
Well, I am. I'm Conrad's mom.
Yeah, it's Connor's mom.
Yeah, you're a nice person.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna agree with.
Yeah, but we can barely hear you though.
Oh,
dang it! Fox, hold on one second. And I was let me read that really quick. Why do people believe in God? Well, I mean, why do some people not believe in God? It's, I don't know, man. I used to think that too when I was younger, and it's really hard for me to not believe, just based on, like, we live on this planet that somehow avoids all these, asteroids and catatonic, situations, and just like, I don't know. I think, to me, for some reason, the Big Bang seems a little harder to believe. I truly feel like that is a very, very difficult thing to comprehend. Creation.
Yeah, there was a Big Bang. There's no denying it.
Science, yeah, but there was obviously somebody who did it.
You mean
something?
The first mover construct. I mean, look, whatever you're going to believe, you can't deny certain things that are irrefutable scientifically. So you have to find a way to balance them with spiritual beliefs. And I don't think that's that hard to do. I mean, a simple example is, if you look at the book of Genesis, God did not create the sun until the fourth day. So how could you have 3 days before there was a sun? Doesn't make any sense. Obviously, a day doesn't mean a day, right? So, it's a spiritual significance, probably a stage. And if you lay out the stages of creation, they actually move in the correct order of evolution, which is extremely interesting. So that what I think is that ultimately, most of these religious ideas and philosophical ideas, they all have some part of the circle of truth. You understand what I'm saying? Even science is part of the circle of truth, and that overlaps like a Venn diagram, with religion. It's not all true in every case, and in some cases, it's mostly true. Somebody's got to be right, and somebody's got to not be right. But I think that ultimately they all have some portion of the circle of truth. That's why I don't judge anybody for anything they believe, because
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Some of the best people I've ever met didn't believe in anything.
Yeah, and there's a lot of agnostic and atheists in the world. I was born with muscular dystrophy. Who shall I take vengeance upon for that? I'm not trying to make light of what this caller is saying. Well, I mean, it's obviously it's a great question, but I mean, there's something different about being born with something and then somebody doing something to you. I mean, I guess you could be mad at the universe, but I mean, if somebody intentionally is able to give you muscular dystrophy, then you would want your vengeance upon that person. I mean, sometimes people are just born, I guess with a short deck, and I'm certainly one of those people. Uh, you know, it's really just a matter of, I completely understand what you're saying, but when somebody intentionally does something to you to cause you harm, that's a terrible thing, So I mean, but I get what you're saying. I do, and I really was born. I don't doubt you at all. Okay, let's go ahead and take
That's a very powerful question that person just asked, and
it's very powerful.
Yeah, and I have worked with people who have that condition in my lifetime, and I think that is a powerful question. I would love to have a chat sometime with you about the meaning you've made of that. What bravery, to go through life like that, and experience that. And I admire you. I admire you greatly. I would really love to talk to you about that. I really would. It really makes me understand the poverty of my own soul. And if you'd like, write to me. I'd love to talk to you.
It's very nice. It's a very nice offer. Thank you, Dr. Gary, for that. Let's see, Janet.
Janet. I love when Janet calls.
What's up, Janet?
Janet.
Oh my gosh.
What's up, Janet? How you doing?
I was hoping you wouldn't pick my call right now.
Oh, you want me to come back to you?
Can you imagine what she's doing?
Well, it's just we are so in the depths of spiritual. I
know, and we're trying to
and deep belief and.
All right. So now it's time for the earthy. Put our feet back on the ground.
Well, somebody in the chat asked if God could walk and chew gum. And I think the answer is he probably can chew gum, but I'm not sure he has any teeth.
Only you would answer it that way.
How dare you?
Sitting around like a guru and somebody comes up and asks you a deep question and your answer is God doesn't have teeth. Okay.
Well, of course he can walk and chew gum.
Do anything.
But he's not a physical person the way we're physical people.
All right, really quick. Let me see if I can tell.
I'm a physical person like we are physical people.
Let me just. I'm going to try and tell a joke really quick. Okay.
Oh Lord.
There's a bunch of people that were playing golf one day, and Jesus was playing golf. He was out on the golf course playing. There's this really, really old man that decided to come play along, and his knees were knobby and they were shaking, and he gets up there and he swings and he misses the ball completely, and all of a sudden the ball lifts off the ground and an eagle comes up and picks it up and it carries it down the golf course and drops it into a tree. The squirrel grabs it, runs down the tree, heads towards the bushes, and goes into the water with a gopher kicks the ball with his tail up onto the green, and a duck rolls it into the hole. It's a hole in one. Jesus turned around to the old man. He said, "Nice shot, Pop."
What kind of attempt at a joke was that? Now I'm going to top you. You want to have a contest for bad dad jokes? Okay, here goes. Janet, you ready?
I am.
Okay, here goes. So there's a hearse driving in San Francisco, and there's a corpse and a cadaver in the casket, and it's bouncing as it drives over the road. And what happens is they go up one of those big hills, and the back door of the hearse opens, and the casket is on a gurney with wheels, one of those ones that like accordion, kind of accordions open, and the coffin flies out. The accordion shelf pops open, and it's on the wheels, and it rolls down a hill that's like 45 degrees, and it's flying. It blows through people. A woman's got a baby carriage. A kid goes flying out of it, hits into a mailbox. Mail goes flying all over the place. It blasts through the front of a little block where people are sitting and eating, and their food goes flying, and it's just going and picking up momentum. Boom, boom, goes down another 45-degree hill, another 45-degree hill. One person's shoes blow off. It gets really, really bad. And finally, it smashes through the front of a pharmacy, and it comes to rest right in front of the desk of the pharmacist. The lid pops open, and the body pops up, and the guy is not quite dead. And he says, "You got anything to stop this coffin?" Thank you. No. He turned Janet into some sort of yipping dog. Okay, now I'm sorry, but I had to top the bad joke. Do you have one worse than that?
Dr. G for the win. Totally. Totally.
Top it, and then I'm going to have to top him. Josh, you don't have a worse joke than that?
Than the one that you just said? Well, I didn't actually think mine was bad.
Oh, then this is a sad little.
Yours was terrible.
But that's the whole fun of it.
And you laughing while telling it doesn't make it any funnier.
No, but the coffin, the casket zipping through the streets is a funny image. You don't think that's funny? I don't know what to tell you. But I think it's.
And by the way, mine was topical because of Janet talking about God not having teeth. Mine, made sense in the aspect. Yours is just some half-cocked like lunacy.
It's a funny joke. Come on, Janet thinks it's funny.
Sound effects really make it.
Yeah,
I mean, he went all in. It was incredible.
Yeah, I don't tell jokes in a half-baked way. That's true. I like a joke that takes a while to tell and has a disappointing punchline that only I find funny.
Interesting.
That's my kind of joke. Yes.
Well, apparently not only you find it funny. Other people do too.
Come on. All right. Well, Josh, I have more, but I'm not going to tell them at this point.
It's better than it's better than poetry.
Oh, that's true. Although I have jokes that are rhyming, but I will keep those to myself. Now, so Janet.
Yes.
What's your question?
Well, actually, Dr. G, your name came up in chat the other night. You weren't here. It was,
oh, Lord.
I don't know, different show format.
Ashton Cabot night?
No.
Now that's funny.
It was after that.
Sebastian Cabot.
The subject of Gary Sider's family came up in discussion. And your name came up because everybody in the chat wanted your take on that case. And I would like to know how parents.
That was my show, Janet. That was my show.
I know it was your show, but Gary wasn't on the show that night.
Yeah, but you could have still said it was Josh's show.
Well, who other show would it be?
I don't know. There's a million shows on YouTube.
Well, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, all right, fair enough. It was my show, Dr.
You know,
Gary.
Janet reminds me of exactly Miss Marple. She's Miss Marple. Exactly Miss Marple. She would be the perfect Miss Marple. Do you know who's going to play Miss Marple coming soon? Toni Collette.
I was going to say Mary Todd.
Oh my God, I loved Toni Collette. I got to meet her. I got to tell you, you know who Toni Collette is?
No, but I know who Sebastian Cabot is.
No, she's the mother in The Sixth Sense, and in Hereditary. Velvet.
Oh yeah.
I have to tell you, in all seriousness, I met her once, and in person, Toni Collette is one of the most beautiful people I have ever met. Inside and out, just the loveliest person, kind, brilliant, sensitive, wonderful person. Loved her. And because sometimes you meet a celebrity and they're awful. She was just such a lovely girl. Well, anyway, Toni Collette is going to play Miss Marple. Now that she's older, you know.
Oh, by the way, Miss Marple?
Miss Marple. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, I tuned out 20 minutes ago.
Lord. Janet, do you know who Miss Marple is?
Yes, I do.
Nobody knows who it is unless you're
remind me of Miss Marple. Miss Marple was a character created by Agatha Christie, who came across as having this kind of head in the clouds, goofball quality, but she was actually quite brilliant, and she was always figuring things out. And you thought that she was being in La La Land and you were deceiving her, but she had you figured out from a mile away. And the whole fun of it was that, you know, it was all a show. So she wasn't that way at all. She was brilliant. And you remind me of her a little bit. You got that going on. That kind of, you do that act, you know, like you're in La La Land, you know, but I think you're quite intelligent.
In La La Land.
Yeah, but it's true. You know, no, she doesn't act, you know, head in the clouds, you know, but this is all a show, you know. This
Great.
persona that Janet's created now, you know.
By the way,
real, I don't know what to tell you. Then I don't want you driving my bus anytime soon.
Speaking of La La Land, the shout out to the bird lady in Home Alone 2 who passed away.
Brenda Fricker.
Yeah. She was also the foster mother in Angels in the Outfield.
She was wonderful. And she had that great accent. I loved her. I never got to meet Brenda Fricker.
Very
I've met
sad.
A lot of famous people, but I
liked her a lot.
Yeah, she was great. I have met celebrities that turned out to be the worst people I've ever met in my life after I told them how great they were. And I've met celebrities that turned out to be the loveliest human beings I've ever met. It is an interesting thing. Have you ever met a famous person?
Who, me? Yeah, I've met a few. Nobody like super cool. I met Daniel Radcliffe, met Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, yeah.
Met Dwight Howard. You probably don't know who that is, though.
Sports.
Yeah, I sat next to him in a movie, Planet of the Apes. We had to share armrest. He's 6'11".
How appropriate, Planet of the Apes.
Why?
Oh, because he was enormous.
Yeah, and I look like an ape.
Although I have no idea who he is or what he looks like. The enormity he made is what I mean.
Massive.
Yeah. I got
the biggest.
What's his name?
Biggest person. Dwight Howard.
Let's see. Oh, I see. Yeah, he's very large. Well, what I meant by how appropriate was the size. Obviously, just
it's the biggest.
Right. And because I wasn't trying to make some kind of stupid slur or something.
No, I know that.
I had no idea who he was. Right. And because that would be disgusting. And I just meant giant. And
I thought you were talking about my poor behavior.
I kind of was.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you're large.
That's what that's how I took it.
Right. And you know who my favorite celebrity was I ever met?
Who?
I think I was in love. I was in love for about an hour. Christina Applegate.
That makes sense.
My absolute favorite person. The person I would most love to meet. Well, she knows my brother. That I think I happen to love is Jennifer Lawrence. I love listening to Jennifer Lawrence tell a story. It is the most ridiculous, meandering nonsense, and it's great. I'm fascinated by it. Don't you love Jennifer Lawrence stories? She does funny voices. They go off into, you don't know what she's talking about. I heard her one time, she was doing an interview, and somebody asked her some serious question, and her answer was to tell a story about being in Kentucky and her mother bringing a boyfriend home and her mother meeting him, and they served a pig butt. And the mother said that the pig butt was so attractive she needed to lean in and kiss it, and 2 weeks later had ringworm. And she told the story in her mother's accent. I got ringworm. And I was on the floor laughing because it was totally inappropriate. It meant, into the story. I loved her. And Christina Applegate, I think the world of, because I think her bravery in dealing with her MS is extraordinary. And in the face of it, she has been so open and comforting to people. And she's so smart, so smart. And I loved her book. I thought her book was great. I would have gladly blurbed that book. I thought that book was amazing. Did you read that book that she wrote, her autobiography? She's fantastic.
Christina Applegate?
Absolutely. She wrote a wonderful autobiography recently.
Why would I read her book?
Because it's a damn good book about a person who had a hard life. And then
the lady from
Married with Children.
Married with Children.
And then she developed she developed MS and has borne it like
I didn't even know that she had that.
Are you kidding? And so she's like this fascinating, and she does a lot of these like autograph signing events, and you meet her and you just like sit with her and for a few minutes and you're like, this is the most fascinating person. And she bears it with dignity and humor, and she's just beautiful as a human being. I mean, I loved her. I thought she was amazing.
I had no idea that she had that, but now I do enjoy those kinds of stories and those people that are open about their.
She's the best.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of people like that have these extraordinary stories, And I love when a celebrity uses his or her platform to give people courage to be okay with.
Somebody said she had breast cancer as well.
I actually think that's true.
Wow.
I think that is true. But the MS is it's serious. She had recently like a serious event.
Wow.
I think she has relapsing remitting, the kind that kind of has episodes.
Sure.
And you have like another person I met who I think had MS was Terry Garr. And when I met her, she was really very much in the advanced stages. I think
now I am interested. I just had no idea that I just didn't know anything about her.
Oh, she's lovely.
But I always thought she was gorgeous.
Well, everyone thinks that Christina Applegate was gorgeous. But the point is that as a person, she was an amazing person.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And then there are celebrities I've met that they're just so cool, like Robert Downey Jr. Just like such a nice guy, just like chat with you at lunch.
Yeah, you probably meet a lot of people though in New York.
Oh yeah, you have no idea. Just the other day I did, and I love to chat with them and make jokes to them. And remember I told you the story about when I spilled the drink all over my shirt.
Yeah, and you scared.
And I was like, I'm a doctor. I really am a doctor. Right. And then I got on the subway and Anna Paquin was sitting there and she was like, rough day, huh? I had the drink spilled all over. Anyway,
did you ever meet James Gandolfini?
No, but I know people who did because he used to eat at a restaurant that is associated with some people I know.
I would have loved to
I met other
him.
people from that show. I met Dre DeMatteo. I met Michael Imperioli. I met what's the other ones? I met Dominic Cinese. I met a couple of.
How was he?
I met Lorraine Bracco. He is exactly the way that you would imagine him to be.
Prickly.
But to me, the excitement of meeting him was that he was Johnny. He was in The Godfather.
Yeah. I know.
Johnny Ola,
Sorry, Janet. Did you have a question?
Well, Janet just calls to be amusing.
Yeah,
you got a question or what? Tell us a celebrity
ask a
story.
question to the subject, so I'm not sure.
There's no subject
See, there we go
here.
Again. No, I had asked about the Gary Siders family case. And we veered off into celebrities. So am I to take that you don't want to really comment on that case?
On what case?
With the 16 children that were found.
I don't. I heard all about it, but I don't have all the details yet.
I gave my little opinion about it. It's very sad. Horrible.
Yeah, I was just looking for a little insight into how parents can do that. I mean, there was a similar case a few years back, the Turpin case.
I really think that the mother, and some people might disagree with me, but I think that she might be a victim of this too.
I don't know the detail. I certainly know the Turpin story, but I don't have.
What do you think about that, Janet?
Yeah.
I think that's very possible. Very possible. I mean, she was only 15.
14.
And thrown in 14 and thrown
They were
into
14 and her parents signed her over to be married, like basically gave her away.
Well, she was 14 and pregnant.
Yeah, with this guy's baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she never, I mean, her body has to be just like stripped of like nutrients and the prenatal care couldn't have been there, and it was just like he was like just knocking her up, excuse the terminology, over and over and over. And I don't know, I somehow feel like she, along with all those children, is somewhat of a victim here.
Yeah, well, you're not fully formed by any means at that age.
Yeah, but I don't think, and I doubt I think that she had something called encapsulation, where her whole job was to just be pregnant. Yeah. And how do you, I mean, imagine the toll that is taken on this young lady's body. I can't even imagine. I don't know. I think that there may be some developmentally, challenges, development, I don't know. It's such a terrible case. I don't know. Very sad.
There is a story that I heard that I don't know if it is known by the general public, so I won't say what case it was. But there was a case that involved a whole series of children being kept captive by a family, and they were in the pitch dark and never exposed to television or anything like that. Never went out of the house, really. I don't think ever. And I remember Michael Stone comparing it to the allegory of the cave in philosophy. And what happened is one of the kids got temporarily out of the house and saw a tomato and had never seen anything like it and started screaming because at his age, for the first time, he saw this little red round fruit, right? Because tomatoes are fruit, has seeds. And it horrified him, terrified him, and he started screaming. Isn't that amazing? So think about a family living in the darkness of a house, never allowed to leave, and one gets out, sees a tomato, and screams. I remember that story horrifying me when I heard it. And Michael Stone and I was sitting around talking about it, and he was just like, just think about that,
Oh.
Yeah. But that's the kind of deprivation of sensory experience that can be had by people it's like being in solitary confinement.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine what those children were going through.
It's considered a torture now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being in the darkness and it's imagine the sensory deprivation for your whole
Gary,
life.
The sheriff and the attorney general that responded to this, like to get the children out, referred to them as almost like feral. That the 18-year-old couldn't even spell her name. That some of the kids couldn't even talk. I mean, it was just it's unbelievable what was happening. 16 kids. This lady had like 3 sets of twins. She's like 30 something years old. It is a terrible, terrible story.
Yeah, well, the world is filled with terrible story, but it's there. But these stories of whole families that are held like that captive or living in bizarre, circumstances. I mean, I just
Feral?
can't understand it,
For some reason, I don't know why, but that word didn't sit right with me. I mean, I get the point that he was trying to make, but I mean, these are kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be offended about it. I'm just saying that I just didn't think that it was. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Weird.
Well,
all right, Janet. Well, that was nice. Way to end on a high note. We've been through peaks and valleys.
We
Right.
certainly have. Dr. G, am I to assume that you received my package?
No, I did not yet. I really look forward to it, but I have not.
Well, it was delivered to the office Monday at like 5:30 p.m.
Oh, well, I haven't been there since, so I haven't.
Okay. Well, that would explain it.
I'm very much looking forward to that. And incidentally, I happen to be fascinated by the subject of historical cases of people who were raised by animals and started to live like them. There was a movie about that actually, where Howie Mandel played someone who was raised by wolves and then acted like one, called Walk Like a Man, which is very funny, disturbing but funny. But there were a few cases of that, of what are called feral children. And some of them, involve people who were raised by primates.
Like Mowgli from Jungle Book?
Sort of, yeah. And then there are people that were raised by wolves, and people that were raised by dogs, and people raised by sheep and bears and cattle and goats. And those cases are absolutely mesmerizing because the people actually took on the eating habits and physical characteristics of the animals that were raising them.
Yeah.
And the most recent case I heard about, which fascinated me, was a woman named Marina Chapman, who she was abandoned and lived in the Colombian jungle from the age of 5 after a botched abduction. And she lived as a capuchin monkey. The capuchin monkeys raised her, and she lived within the social structure of the primates, of the capuchin monkeys. And there are a lot of cases of that all throughout history. Absolutely fascinating to read about. I hope that you will, if you get a chance to read about that. And then, of course, for Joey H., there's the 2010 movie Entre Lobos, which is about the true case of Marcos Pantoja, who was a Spanish boy who was raised by wolves. It's an interesting subject, but there really are feral children. They exist.
No, and I get it. It's not that I'm just saying that. I don't know. I guess it was maybe the proper word. It was very sad. Very sad.
Yeah. Well, I don't like when people get compared to, because animals don't hurt anybody in that way. Only humans could be that cruel, I don't like when people are like, oh, you're like an animal. You're a feral animal. No, animals don't do things like that.
That's been said to me before.
Yeah, they don't do things like that. What? You've been compared to a feral?
Absolutely.
Animal? Oh, well, sorry. Shoot fits.
More than once.
The shoe fits.
And actually, my sister used to tell me I was like Wolverine, but like without the claws. I think she was referring to my sideburns.
Oh.
And then she would always go, remember like the movie The Animal? She would always go, "You are hairy like animal."
I love it.
Very, very rude, huh?
Now, Josh, forgive me. I do adore being on Planet Janet, but because it's so bizarre here. But the thing is, I do have to get off soon.
Yes, we're gonna finish up.
So, Janet, thank you. I always get such a kick out of you. You have a way of ungluing everybody and making us talk about lunacy, and I appreciate that. Every time you call, it's like all the king's horses and all the king's men, couldn't put Humpty together, together again. But Josh, what I mean? She's like a catalyst for the most.
Yeah, Planet Janet describes it.
Yes, and it's a great thing. So I appreciate it.
Love's in the chat for Planet Janet. All right, Janet, thank you so much.
Basically, what it comes down to is when you talk to Janet, you swim in the unconscious.
Yeah, she's great.
Unmodulated unconscious. It's great. Anyway, next.
What do you got? About 10, 15 minutes left?
Like less than 10 because I
Okay.
got to.
All right. Let's move through it. No problem.
Yeah.
Lizzie, go ahead. Where are you calling from? Lizzie, you there? Hello? All right. Cat Randall, what's up, dude? How are you, man?
Cool.
Hey,
Cat Randall, can I share really quick with, or you can share, but Cat
go
Randall
ahead.
is just recently out of the hospital from a liver transplant.
The
50
trans.
some,
So
yeah, 50 something days. How are you?
I'm, I'm,
He wasn't sure he was going to make it.
I was sure I was going to make it. There was no way I was not going to make it.
Well,
Oh.
you made it, and I'm happy you did.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about my liver. The last one, it was not processing anything. They had this test that they did for alcohol on it, and it showed that it had absorbed something. That they had this weird test that they can test back 12 weeks to see if there's been absorption of alcohol, and it showed that okay, a normal person has like 0.0001 if they've had like a couple beers in the last 12 weeks. I was like 4. Like I don't think there was even a point in my thing because it had absorbed, but it was not releasing anything. So it was absorbing and not releasing, and so it was pretty bad. So the only thing that was in control of my body at that time, my liver was in no way in control. It was me. It was like a personal, it was like a mission from God. I was going to get through this because
Well, you sound good.
Thank you. So
You sound good. Yeah. Thank you,
great.
man.
I bet you look like you smell good too.
That's true. I do.
I got to go now. You know what? I love the line. Let me tell you something about my liver. There was something about that line that was so unique.
And then he said, my last one.
Right. That's what I call an organ recital. Okay. Now, moving along. So tell us what we could do to help you.
To help me?
I think you're just calling to say hi.
I would say just all right. So public service announcement. They didn't have a public service announcement for this when I was a kid. How you're going to feel going through liver, because my liver was in failure. They don't tell you how you're going to feel. And for a normal person, the normal person would have given up. They would have given up the ghost and been okay. God, here I come, take me. But I'm not normal, and I think you know that about me by now. I'm trans Randall, and now I got the transplant. I've got the bona fides to prove it. I'm trans Randall. So the feeling,
Randall.
the feeling that you have when your liver is in failure and you can't do anything about it, and it's still in there, and they're still trying to process stuff through that liver, and they're giving you pills and medications, and they're experimenting on you for the most part. Because it's like nothing, it's like, okay, well, did we try this? Did we try that? They're experimenting on you. You're a patient. That's what I was. I was a patient for them. It was like a pincushion. And just because I poke them here. I mean, have you seen me lately? I've got all these bruises, and they're all from sticking because all I was dehydrated because my liver wouldn't process water. I had to be up on a restriction of a certain amount of water. I couldn't have, a certain amount of water, and they couldn't give me because it was my kidneys were hurting because the liver was hurting. So it was like every single organ in my body was affected by this. And what was the thing about the public service announcement is if they could have captured me in the back of any one of those ambulances, because they took me from Loudoun County, Virginia to Baltimore City, then they couldn't deal with me. And then they took me up to George Washington University Hospital, and then they couldn't deal with me. But they could have dealt with me, but my insurance wasn't inpatient or in network or whatever it is for them. So I had to go to another one. George Washington finally accepted me and said, "We're going to make this kid live." They said, "Everybody, this kid, he's going to live. We're going to do it. We got this shit."
And you did.
That's what
And you're home. And you're home for good now.
Knock on some wood. I got wood around here. That's metal.
I don't even know what that means. But
Knock on wood.
well,
I'm home for good.
I don't know what is going on here, but I feel like I'm having a stroke. Is there a thread to this conversation I'm not getting?
nah, he was just in the hospital.
Unwell.
I know, Kat. He's
I know. I'm only teasing.
Yeah,
I'm
guy.
really happy you're okay. The liver is so important. Without it, there's so much medicine you wouldn't be able to break down, and you know what I mean. It's a dangerous thing to lose, so I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. Well, Kat, we're short on time, but I will catch you soon, and I appreciate you calling, and it was good to hear from you.
All the love, man. You got it.
All right, man. Talk to
You're
you
a
soon.
good guy. Yeah. Take care.
He's great. All right, Suze, where are you calling from?
I guess I'll just speak to you in here. I don't know. This is my first time.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
what
ahead.
a great accent you have. Where are you calling from?
I'm afraid to say now. I'm from Mount Airy, North Carolina, Mayberry.
Oh, that's a wonderful. I love your accent. Yeah. Is that considered Appalachia?
We're in Western North Carolina, but we're close.
Yeah.
We don't live like the Siders did, that's for sure. Some people do, though. That's what's sad about it. Some people really do. And a lot of the things that's going on with them happen around where I live because I do live close to Appalachia, like where the Helene hit a couple years ago. There's still people that haven't even been to their homes. So, but I live actually 50 miles northwest of, or north of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and about 90 miles north of Charlotte. And it is where Andy Griffith grew up. So not that it's tourist now, but anyway.
Big fan of Andy Griffith.
No, I would. I guess I would be, but my grandmother said he was she said he didn't like to behave. I'll put it that nice. She had other things to say.
Now I'm not so much of one.
Well, I love your accent. You sound like somebody that dear to me that had an accent like that I that you just remind me of them when you speak. So
I have friends. I do. I have friends I went to college with that'll ask me to talk because I'm so different. Anyway,
I love it. I think
but
it's great.
what I wanted to ask, and I've listened. This is the first time I've been back here. I just joined like last week, but some of the guy that was talking earlier about the death penalty and all this. I have a question for you, Dr. Gary. I've gotten really interested in a lot of things that you're into, but or the things that you've been contributing on lately. But I'm a I don't even know how to start to make it short, but my father was murdered when I was 18. I'm 56 now. The man that actually pulled the trigger, it was a burglar robbery, and it was planned, premeditated, all that. The man was killed in prison, but he had a young guy that was with him. They were on drugs. Long story short, the guy that actually shot my dad, he was in his 50s, was killed in prison fight. The other guy just found out. It was in the local newspaper. We were supposed to be notified if he ever came available for parole, and I'm still dealing with that. Like, I struggle with a lot of anger and things, and like the guy said earlier, yeah, if it was my kid and they were hurt or everything, but anger will eat you up. You got to get over it. You got to get through it, and which I use faith, and I do live in the Bible Belt, so, but that's just between everybody and God. But anyway, the paper didn't even have my dad's death date right, but they did have right the young man that was with the primary man that killed my dad. They're actually trying to consider him getting out for parole because he's behaved in prison. This happened in October 26, 1988. I was 18 in nursing school. I was headed in pre-med, but I had to stop and go to nursing school because when my dad died, I lost my financing to go to medical school. But I found out this guy, because he's got a college education in prison. He's behaved. He hasn't been in trouble, but he's been in prison longer than he's been out. He went to prison at 18. He was my age when they killed my dad. And which I have mixed feelings about it because something called the Innocence Project. I'm not real sure.
I know about it.
I've tried to contact them because I don't know that he's done anything to warrant letting him out because they tortured my dad for 3 to 4 hours before they shot him and blowed the side of his face off. And at 18, I can talk about it now, but that's after years of therapy. But I don't even know how to go there. It gives me chills to think about it because maybe he does deserve to get out, but I don't think he would be able to live outside. He's been institutionalized by his own choosing.
Can I ask you something? Would
Sure.
you be open to talking to me for the book I'm doing?
Sure.
But would you email me? I'd like to talk to you about this because I'm interested in the way that people make meaning of things like this, and especially when it's in childhood. I'd really like to talk to you about it if you're okay with it.
Sure.
And
I'll have to say it was really hard for us, and I have a younger brother that has Down syndrome too. So that he's 5 years younger than me. And I don't know. It's been really hard. I have a very strong mother. I think that had it not been for her, I would have been down a really bad long road. So, I don't know even how to process it. And I have people that's actually, which I don't know, I guess to me, I look at it as poor taste when I have people messaging me, hey, did you see the article in the paper about when your dad was killed and they're going to let this guy out? And I'm 56 now. So he would be 56. He was put in prison at 18. And I don't see how can he survive? I don't care if he got an education. I don't care what he did. He also helped torture my father for an entire night and then blow his head off. And,
Suze, did you hear the beginning of the show?
No, I didn't.
And
I don't know. The guy was talking. He had gone on. I don't know how long he'd been going on because I was lagging.
Okay.
So.
But when did you start watching the show?
A couple hours ago.
Like, is this your first time watching?
No, I've been watching about a month. I started watching Interview Room and saw y'all there, and since Nancy Guthrie, but I just joined your group. I called it after y'all were on the Interview Room.
So
I'm an insomniac.
So do you know what I was talking about at the beginning of the show?
No.
Okay.
I missed the first part of it.
All right. Do you know my story at all?
I've caught some bits and pieces, and I tried to look it up, but there's a lot of people with your name. So something about your dad, and he's in prison. I caught that, but I don't know.
Yeah, my dad been in prison since 1988. He was 25 when he went in. He killed my mother when I was 3 years old, and he is getting out soon. So I feel exactly the same way that you do, and I completely understand your feelings, and I understand the whole getting an education and taking these classes and blah blah blah. It all feels like horse shit.
You know what you should do, Josh? You should gather together a few callers that have had this experience and do a show where you all talk.
Yeah, well, and if you're going to interview her, and I would like to share my experience with you a little bit more as well.
That goes without saying. I was going to ask you that privately.
Sure, of course.
But I am writing on. There is a case where, because the whole point of that book is going to be 25 cases that are so outrageous and horrendous that I have to talk to other experts or the people who experience them.
Sure, yeah.
Or whatever to understand them. And there is one case that involves a family member killing the other, another, family member.
Yeah.
And I am going to talk to you about it. And in your case, in the caller's case, remind me of your name again, please.
Susan. It's Susan here, but it's Susan is my actual name.
I hate talking to a person where I don't refer to them by their name. It sounds so inhuman, Yeah. So Susan, I'd like to talk to you, to get your insights for a different case about someone who loses a family member in a horrendous incident. And I think it'll help thousands of people who read the book to kind of hear your thoughts and insights, because some of them will have had those experiences. So I would really
Susan,
like.
Susan, I want you to go when we're done here. Please go back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I was
and
going to do replay. I was just,
Yeah.
I had, since
So
I
we-
joined and it showed me the member, I was like, wait a minute, something. Because at one point I was hearing Dr. Gary talk to somebody and you were talking to somebody and
Sure.
Janet, and I was like, oh, holy cow. And
we talk
my
about this
brother-
very subject for about 20 minutes to begin the show.
Oh,
And
okay.
then also, if you feel inclined, please send me an email, and would like to correspond with you a little bit and share some of my thoughts and sort of how I'm dealing with what's going on, and as well, because we're in kind of an exclusive group here. So I mean, I get what you're going through on a molecular level. So I don't mean to rush. We're just short of time right
That's
now.
fine. I was just,
But
I figured
I do want to talk. I would like to talk to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So reach out by email, and thank you for. It takes a lot, to tell that story in front of
Absolutely, it does.
Well, it's like, I have a lot of people are like, how can you say that and not be? I'm like, look, I've got cold chills. I can say it, but I compartmentalize like a great deal. And like I said, years of therapy,
Yep.
but it's a lot of anger, and I've had to get over that because anger will eat you alive. And I turned it around to live and work with people, and it just volunteering and working with Special Olympics and doing things I loved really helped me to survive, because I was a basket case,
Sure.
and it was an ongoing thing for like 4 years, and now this, and I'm like, these people don't have any idea. And this boy, I would not know him if I crossed him on the street. That's not the point. And his family stood up when he did this, and he pled guilty. That's the weird thing. He got the same amount of time the other guy got, but he turned state's evidence, all that. But that didn't really make my life any better, So anyway, but I know you've got to go, but I appreciate this. Now I got to figure out how this works, because I'd never.
So when you're done here, just check the chat. My email will be we'll put it in there. And then if you don't get it, we'll list it in the comments under the show when it's over. But I will, that way you just reach out when you want to, and we can talk.
Okay, sure.
Okay. All
And
right.
by the
It's
way,
nice to speak to you guys. I hope that I'll be able to catch this next time. Do you
All right.
always do does the streaming thing always, the StreamYard, is it always like this? Because I was trying to figure it out. So you had a few people were private messaging me, telling the cat guy said, I think it was a guy, but I think he was like, just breathe and you'll figure it out. Because I was kind of like, I don't know where I'm at, what I'm doing on here. So
yeah, but basically you just wait in the back, and then it puts you in a queue, and then we put you up when we get to you. We go in order.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well,
All
it's
right.
nice speaking to you guys. I've been trying
you
to catch
too.
this, so
Yeah,
y'all have a
nice-
good one.
someone
Nice
in the
talk.
audience, someone in our private chat said they've been holding 3 hours. Is that the next person up? I feel terrible about that.
Yeah, they are the next person to see. All right. Well, it doesn't have your name on here, but go ahead. Where are you calling from?
Hi, can you hear me?
Sure can.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing all right.
Good. Are you the one who
Yeah, they've been on. They were last in
quilting
queue.
reference and okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm quilting.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to say I respect you both so much. I think you're both so intelligent. I have a quick question. I know that a lot of people ask about the what's the word? I lost the word. Like the signals of people who commit these violent crimes, the characteristics. And what I'm curious of is the opposite end. Is there typical characteristics for victims?
Oh, well, that's a very hard question.
How do we not be a victim?
So basically, the question is, if I believe there are people that get preyed upon because of the trusting nature, the goodness of their heart, things like that. And I'm sure Dr. Gary could expand on that just a little bit, but there are certainly people that take advantage of people's good nature, and some people, either being too trusting or just wanting to help put themselves in terrible situations. Not saying that is a reason to become a victim of somebody. Nobody has the right to victimize anybody, but yes, there are people that are easier targets for these terrible offenders than and it's really sad, to be honest with you, because most of the time the victims are these wonderfully nice people, and those are the people that get taken advantage of the most,
Yes.
but yes, I think that there's some sort of correlation there, but it's just it is a terrible thing because it's like they talk about like soft targets, and if you're a nice, trusting, caring person, and you're somebody who invites people into your home because you want to help them out or whatever, it's sort of a victimology thing that do you watch The Interview Room?
I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
So Chris McDonough talks about it. The Cold Case Foundation has a whole course about victimology and what not to do to put yourself in, high leverage situations where something can be, or where somebody can kind of take advantage. Like, obviously you don't want to be out at a certain, there's only so much that you can do to keep yourself out of harm's way, but there are things that you can do to try to help prevent it. But that doesn't stop anything. That doesn't stop anybody. Like, people find ways, disgusting people, just find ways to take advantage. And but it's like one of those things where you don't want to walk down a back alley at 2 or 3 in the morning, because you're putting yourself in a really bad spot. But also, and you don't want to leave your doors unlocked, but that doesn't mean that somebody won't break your window and come through your window, or steal your car, or things like that. So there's a lot of things that can factor in. But yeah, unfortunately, good-hearted, kind, caring, trusting people are taken advantage of the most, in my opinion. So I don't know where Dr. Gary went. He might have went to the bathroom.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go. And if he comes back and he has an answer, I'll be listening. But other than that, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Anyway, let's see. We have one last. Mab, what's up, dude? How are you?
Sorry, I needed to.
Did you want to expand on that just for a second? I mean,
I think you.
I think that we probably share the same.
Well, I didn't hear your full answer because I was dealing with some. You know what I mean?
Oh, I just say that most of the time it's the trusting, caring people that get preyed on, but random violence is random violence too. That happens. But Mab, are you there? Or did you drop? Somebody said if you have to go down a dark alley, you act all crazy. Well, I think that's it, Dr. Gary. Mab, are you there? Oh, all right. Well, everybody's off now. But, well, Dr. Gary, we were trying to keep it to about 3 hours, and we came close. And,
yeah, right.
But anyway, any final thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I do. Well, of course. So first of all, I really want to remind everybody that I think it's a great thing that we do these calls, and that obviously we can't give clinical answers, but I'm glad that we're able to treat it as a kind of a bringing together of people that are in some ways lost souls that have had hard times, and show care for each other, and kind of have this support here. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
I do too.
Yeah, I really do, and I think it's a good thing that.
And we all appreciate, your time and expertise and kindness. You were very, people just really appreciate you. I know that I appreciate you, and I don't express it enough to you. But
so. Yeah.
let me just say, in Anatomy of Evil, Dr. Stone classifies several people as almost beyond redemption because they're extremely violent, mendacious, and reject the concept of civilized society.
Well, I can tell you what he's talking about. So Michael and I used to chat about this, which is that he felt that there were certain people, once they got high enough on the scale, that they'd be so given over to acts that would be that would meet the criteria for evil, that you would almost begin to start to talk about them as an evil person, as opposed to saying a person who commits evil acts. Michael used to teach me to never say that a person was evil. There's just people who do evil acts. But then there were some people like David Parker Ray, or this fellow that was just mentioned, whose name I can't bring to my lips, who were that bad. I mean, the offender that was referenced by the Barjona that was referenced there, just to give you a simple example, that offender once killed a child and made him into a kind of mincemeat, and then fed him to the parents that were looking for the child, telling the parents that he was bringing deer meat to console them. That's how bad he was. I mean, the worst, the worst of the worst. I can't even talk about him. Well, what Michael was trying to say is that there are some people that day in and day out commit acts that would be called evil so frequently, so with such rapidity, that you almost have to go groping for a word for them. And he used to say maybe there are a few people that you would call evil, rather than just people who commit evil acts. And Barjona was up there. And I think David Parker Ray is the one that most people point to as being the worst of the worst. Like they can't.
Yeah, he's about as bad as I've ever heard.
Yeah, or maybe Lawrence Bittaker. There are some people that are, they're always the 22s, that are the worst of the worst, proving the point that we all somehow internally understand that scale. So yeah, it's pretty bad. So it's a good question. But I do want to say, I am ordering copies of the New Evil to sign, and I'm offering them, selling them. I thought that I was putting that order in last night, but I'm going to actually wait because the person I get them from needs to get more copies anyway. So I'm still offering those, and I have, I think, 42 now, because some sold while I was on here. I think I got a count.
Save one for me.
Okay.
I'm serious.
All right. Well, I have 42 left of those books that Michael and I used for research, and I'm just selling them out right now. So if you're interested in either of those things, please email me at Dr. Gary Brucato, DrGaryBrucato, all lowercase, at gmail.com. I'm just looking at this point to get them, moved into the homes of people that'll appreciate them. And I just kind of pick one randomly. If I know the person who's getting it, I'll sort of try to find one that might be more uniquely interesting to that person. But I think people will really enjoy that. And I do sign the New Evil, and I do a little drawing. I do an original drawing because I do cartoon style drawings. And I think people, as did Michael Stone. Stone was also a cartoonist. That's
kind of cool.
Yeah, he was a cartoonist and a poet also. Yeah. So.
Yeah, poetry.
Yeah. Well, we both write poetry and make cartoons. So I will do that in any of the books. In the new
Will you write me a poem?
No. So
Okay.
if anybody would wants, reach out to me, but I do have to put the order in, and I would like to get that over with. So sooner than later, if you're interested, maybe tonight would be a good idea.
Cool.
All right, and Josh, if you're serious, I will.
I am serious. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep. I'll talk to you after the show.
All right. Well,
All
listen. Thank you to everybody. Okay.
All right, Dr. Gary.
You're welcome. All right.
Bye. Thanks. Let me see. I guess I'm not going to get my, I guess there's not going to be anyone going to write me a poem. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for all being here, and we will catch you on the next show. It has been fun as always and great calls. Thank you everybody who called in. Appreciate you all very, very much. And we will catch you next time. Hopefully you can hear the outro this time. Tell me if you can hear it. Appreciate you, Mab. Thank you. I have a vegetable joke for you, Josh, Dr. Gary, but it's kind of corny. I look like Luke Combs. Here's a bad joke. How do you make holy water? Scare the hell out of me. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as mine.